In such a disadvantageous situation, to still be able to obtain such a high score, it was all because of Chen Xiang relying on his Geo Daily Pill refining skills to counter, and once again suppressing the numerous Dan Immortal. In such a disadvantageous situation, to still be able to obtain such a high score, it was all because of Chen Xiang relying on his Geo Daily Pill refining skills to counter, and once again suppressing the numerous Dan Immortal. Chen Xiang organized the ingredients, and took a while to organize the 500 sets of ingredients, and he could use this time to recover the huge amount of energy he had lost previously. Right now, he was constantly absorbing the immortal qi, and using his energy to quickly refine it, and at the same time refining the Hunyuan Dan he consumed previously, allowing himself to quickly recover. Just concocting 100 batches of pills at the same time had consumed a lot of energy. He had used a lot of 5 elements heavenly fire as well and felt a lot of pressure in the area of innate qi. Regarding Chen Xiang's current item. 1. Tai, many of the big heads could not be sure because there was no proof that he was Chen Xiang. Although his method of refining pills was very similar to Chen Xiang, but with such a large world, it was not strange for people to have the same method of refining pills. Although they were not sure, but those rankers from influential clans had decided to surround Chen Xiang and ask him about it after the compet. 1. Tian. It had already been an hour since Chen Xiang had finished organizing the large pile of medicinal ingredients, and at the same time, Long Peirong had already concocted a batch of high-grade heaven-level pills. There were 2 of them, and they were all of high quality, and even though he had exchanged them for 2,000 points, he was still 1,000 points less than Chen Xiang, and even slower than Chen Xiang by an hour. Before this, Long Peirong thought that he would definitely get the first place in the compet. 1. Tian, but who knew that Chen Xiang would actually use such a miraculous pill refining skill? You should be first in the second match. However, in the final match, the rules will certainly be against you. When that happens, it'll be even more difficult. Su Meiyao said. We'll talk about it when the time comes. In short, I'll try my best to fight over that divine cauldron. Chen Xiang once again used the Dewan refining method, releasing the 100 magic method furnace, and began refining the pill. Although they were only separated by only an hour, seeing Chen Xiang's ultimate move again, everyone was still shocked. They stared intently at the magic method furnace as they carefully observed the changes that had occurred inside the furnace. Right now, it was not Chen Xiang's limit. If he could get more medicinal ingredients, he could refine even more in one go, which was why he had wanted to try and obtain more at once. It was just that Peiqing did not allow him to. In only 2 hours, he had succeeded in condensing the pellet. Like last time, it was still 3,005 elements profound Dan and he already had 6,000 points. I never thought that Imperial Dragon Clan's little holy dragon would be so powerful. He's now rank 3rd, and it looks like he's feeling a lot of pressure, afraid that he won't be able to enter the top 10. That's why he's not hiding his strength anymore. Long Shui said. Chen Xiang was very surprised about this, because Li Tianjun and the Baixia Dan Immortal were both ranked behind the Holy Dragon, while Xiao Profound Yun was also a little behind her in ranking, so Du Hai was ahead of her. Has there ever been a dragon in your Imperial Dragon Clan that knew how to refine pills? A very strong one. Chen Xiang asked. I'm not sure. I don't have any memories of this kind in my memory inheritance, but I think there should be, because we dragons prefer to eat them directly. Long Shui said. After Chen Xiang returned from receiving the medicinal ingredients, he took a look at the small holy dragon. He suddenly realized that this small holy dragon looked similar to the Prince Imperial Dragon that died in his hand. Could this guy be a new Prince Imperial Dragon? Chen Xiang thought. If that's not the case, then Dragon Emperor would not have come. He seems to have used some sort of secret method to determine whether or not his son has the potential to become the Dragon Emperor. If the Holy Dragon who is refining pills right now is the Crown Prince, then there wouldn't be any problems with the Prince Imperial Dragon previously. That Prince Imperial Dragon was just born not too long ago. His strength is very weak. The Holy Dragon sitting here is a immortal monarch-level Holy Dragon. Long Shui said. Chen Xiang was concocting pills faster and faster now, which made He Peiqing and the rest secretly grit their teeth. If Chen Xiang finished refining those 5 elements profound Dan before the end of the compet 1. Tian, then it would definitely be the relived Dan's turn. If He Peiqing knew that Chen Xiang had such a heaven-defying refining technique, he would definitely set a rule that would restrict Chen Xiang's abilities. He was already beginning to calculate the rules for the final round. Chen Xiang arranged the ingredients and started to refine the 3rd batch of pills. But this time was different from the previous 2 times. He only released 50 magic method furnace this time, so he could refine 10 batches of ingredients in one bat. If he could control it well, it would save him a lot of strength and might even be faster. Seeing Chen Xiang reducing the amount of pills in the furnace, some people could tell that he was trying it out step by step, and had actually improved a little during the compet 1. Tian, which was truly admirable. Chen Xiang's goal was not only to finish refining the 5 elements profound Dan, the relived Dan were also his goal right now. But right now, he had to quickly refine all of the 5 elements profound Dan's medicinal ingredients so that he could get a high score in the points before he would dare to refine other pills. Reducing the magic method furnace to 50 pill furnaces would allow him to control it without releasing too much divine power, allowing him to relax a little. This way, he would be able to release even more stronger 5 elements, heavenly fire, and quickly refine the herbs. Thus, his current speed was much faster. At his current speed, he could probably refine 500 sets of 5 elements profound Dan in an hour. If he refines heaven-level pills at the same speed in the future, then it would be too terrifying. Very High Elder was amazed. I have received inspiration from this kid, so I need to go into closed-door cultivation and see if I can create this training method. Long Huishan laughed. Very High Elder, if this brat is Chen Xiang, I can let him teach you. He is my younger brother. That's not necessary. His method might not be suitable. Even if he were to pass it down to me, I might not be able to learn it. It's better to figure it out by himself. Although it's a bit difficult, it's best suited for oneself. The Very High Elder shook his head and laughed. In just an hour, Chen Xiang had completely turned all 500 sets of medicinal ingredients into pills, and inside each furnace, there were 60 pills. They floated, and they gave off a hazy glow like the stars in the sky. It had already been 8 hours since the start of the compet. 1 Tian, yet Chen Xiang was able to refine 9,005 elements profound Dan. This was probably the shortest amount of time possible for Alchemist S to refine so many pills in the history of the tournament. Chen Xiang had already scored 9,000 points, the Partic. 1 P. Aiding Dan Immortal felt powerless, and previously, Chen Xiang had also taken first place in a ruthless manner, and now, it was the same, and this second round was actually extremely powerful against alchemists like them. In an unfair situation, Chen Xiang was still standing as the top ranker with a high score, causing these Dan Immortal to feel ashamed in their hearts. Chen Xiang took the batch of pellets that he had just refined and went to collect a new batch of medicinal ingredient. After passing through to Xiao Profoundyun, he sent her a sound transmission and smiled. "Junior sister, you have to work hard." Xiao Profoundyun opened her eyes and rolled her eyes at him. She could be considered a rather famous Dan Immortal now, and one that was very strong as well. It would be difficult for her to accept Chen Xiang as her senior. Xiao Profoundyun opened her eyes and rolled her eyes at him. She could be considered a rather famous Dan Immortal now, and one that was very strong as well. It would be difficult for her to accept Chen Xiang as her senior. However, Chen Xiang's current score was definitely higher than hers by a lot, and it was in both matches as well. Especially in this match, where she was in a very favorable situation, and yet, she was still being suppressed ruthlessly by Chen Xiang. She was Embark's said to call Chen Xiang junior brother now, so being left behind by a junior brother, she could not accept it either. Xiao Profound Yun did not think any more. She knew that as long as she could maintain her current state, it would be enough for her to perform steadily, and even if she could not get first, she would at least get a good rank. After all, she was considered very young in this group of Dan Immortal. That is to say, Chen Xiang will be able to completely refine them in 3 more times. According to his current speed and the time he has to process the medicinal ingredients, it should only be enough for 6 hours. Right now, Chen Xiang was no longer partic. 1p aiding in the compet. 1. Tian, but was frantically refining pills, because the pills would all belong to him. Myriad Dan Immortal Country originally wanted to take out the medicinal ingredients that had been stored inside for many years, and had a large group of alchemists help him refine them. Looking at how anxious Chen Xiang was right now, as if he was going to refine all of the ground-level pills Myriad Dan Immortal Country provided. With such a large number of pills, if he sold them all, it would be like selling a large batch of spiritual crystal, which Myriad Dan Immortal Country was giving to Chen Xiang as a gift. After 6 hours, Chen Xiang very punctually refined all of the remaining 5 elements Profound Dan medicine. He had a total of 18,000 points, which was more than the number of Dan Immortal who were ahead of the first round. The Dan Immortal behind did not have any hope of beating him. As long as he could enter the top 10, it would be considered good. Sure enough, Chen Xiang started to have plans to take the Relive Dan as he received 500 sets of Relive Dan's medicinal ingredients. The quality of this Relive Dan's medicine is so high, there's no need to go through so much effort to deal with it. Chen Xiang was secretly happy. There were still 5 hours of compet. 1. Tian left, and he wanted to strive to refine more Relive Dan. Of course, he wasn't using them, but selling them. As for the other Dan Immortal, who were refining the high-grade heaven-level pills, their maximum points would probably only be 12,000, unable to surpass Chen Xiang. Right now, they could already confirm that Chen Xiang was the champion of the compet. 1. Tian, and he was still as vigorous as a dragon and as ferocious as a tiger, able to continue refining pills. If you can refine 4 pellets in a single furnace, then He Feng and He Peiqing both know that you producing 4 pellets in the Myriad Dan building would cause quite a sensation. If they were to see you refining 4 pellets in a single furnace, they might even claim that you are the great Master Yen. Su Meiyao said, "No need to be afraid. After I obtain the divine cauldron, my master will immediately take me away. I believe in the strength of this crazy old man." Chen Xiang had also thought about this before. If he had suppressed it a little, with 3 pills in each batch, it would probably not arouse any suspicion from He Peiqing. He Peiqing had lost his Tianshan holy fruit, so they would pay attention to this matter. They don't have any evidence to prove it's me, so don't worry. Chen Xiang said. After organizing the Relive Dan's ingredients, Chen Xiang started to refine the pills. 50 magic method furnace, each with 10 portions, just like before. Father, if he can get 4 pills in a pot, does that mean he's Master Yen? He Feng asked softly. He hated Master Yen a lot because he was the one who brought Master Yen out back then. No, because Master Yan's refining technique is different from his, and we don't have any evidence to prove that he is Master Yen, but we will definitely keep an eye on him. He Peiqing kept looking at Chen Xiang. If this person was truly Master Yen, then it would also mean that he was Chen Xiang. If what Wang Jiqiongjin said was true, then all of the major events that happened in the Myriad Dan Immortal Country were all done by Chen Xiang alone, as well as the matter regarding the Heavenly Bull Immortal Palace's Holy Spirit Rabbit. Chen Xiang was already very familiar with Relive Dan. Although this was the first time he used this method to refine a pill, he didn't feel any pressure. It was just like when he was refining a 5 elements profound Dan. It only took him about an hour to reach the core formation stage. At this moment, everyone was staring at the ball of mist with their eyes wide open. Chen Xiang then separated the large lump of mist inside the magic method furnace into 40 parts. Seeing this scene, the entire audience exclaimed. This meant that Chen Xiang's portion of medicinal ingredients could produce 4 relived Dan, and not long ago, Master Yen, who appeared in Myriad Dan building, could do the same. It was just that the people partic. 1p. Aiding in the compet. 1. Tian were currently refining 500 pills in one go. Relived Dan were easier to sell, especially of high quality. Now that Chen Xiang had used this kind of savage refining technique to refine them, it meant that the Kraz Hi+ing spiritual crystal would enter his storage magic treasure. Father. It must be him, Master Yen must be him. He clenched his fists and said, who knows, maybe the entire matter of the Tianshan holy fruit is related to him. Arrest him and ask him about it. The person who cheated the Tianshan holy fruit back then had your immortal sword in his hand, and knew about the poison in the black blood magic sunflower. It might even be the devil scorpion princess, so why don't you listen to that crazy old woman Ji Cheongjin's nonsense? He Peiqing reprimanded her with a sound transmission. But, do you think that this guy won't have a powerful guy protecting him by refining 500 sets of medicinal herbs in one go? Maybe he's on the scene. If we act rashly right now and the scene is in chaos, then we will lose face. He Peiqing said. He Feng no longer spoke, but he believed that this person was Master Yen, which meant he was Chen Xiang. Junior Marshal Uncle is so lucky. If there's a chance, you have to trick him properly. Hua Xiangyue scoffed. With his speed, both relived Dan and 5 elements profound Dan will receive a large number. I wonder how he will be able to get rid of us then. Lu Zhongyu said, I wonder if we can sell him to our human king, immortal country? Please don't, Junior Marshal Uncle is very evil. In the past, eldest senior Marshal Brother was heavily deceived by him. Now, eldest Marshal Brother doesn't even dare to do business with Junior Marshal Uncle anymore. Hua Xiangyue anxiously said. Dong Chen also told me about this. Ji Weiquan smiled slightly. This junior brother of mine really doesn't recognize any kin at all in this matter. If it's Xian, even sending him off is possible. Hua Xiangyue laughed. You guys are regretting that you didn't bring Xian here now, right? Hua Xiangyue still wanted to say that, in fact, Lu Menger could do it too, but she did not dare. She wanted to let Lu Zhongyu and Song Ying know that her own daughter, master and disciple were captured by Chen Xiang, and the consequences would be dire. Time flew by quickly. In comparison to the alchemist on the compet.I.Tian grounds, they felt that they did not have enough time. Time flew by quickly. In comparison to the alchemist on the compet. 1. Tian grounds, they felt that they did not have enough time. Chen Xiang's current rank was obviously the highest, at 20,000. Right now, when he refined the relived Dan, he could get 2,000 points in 2 hours, and the compet. 1. Tian would end in 8 hours. Long Peirong was still in second place. Just as she had predicted before, she had refined 8 pills in one furnace for 4 hours, which was a total of 8,000 points. Li Tianjun, by Xia Dan Immortal and the Holy Dragon Dan Immortal were fighting with each other, and then with Du Hai, Xiao Profound Yun and the Dan Immortal S, and then with the Dan Immortal S, and finally the Dan Immortal S sent by He Peiqing were fighting with each other. Those fellows have quite a bit of relived Dan's medicinal herbs. I wonder how long they have been storing them for. I never expected them to be so easy on me. I still have 8 hours to get 500 sets in 2 hours. Chen Xiang was secretly delighted in his heart. Even if he did not obtain the divine cauldron in the end, just the high-grade ground-level pills he had refined during the compet. 1. Tian would allow him to exchange for a large number of spiritual crystal. In the end, he had no choice but to use half of the longevity fruit to exchange for it. He did not want to encounter such a predicament again, and felt that if he met with the medicine that he liked, he would only be satisfied if he threw a large number of spiritual crystal out to exchange. In the blink of an eye, the time for the compet. 1. Tian had arrived, yet Chen Xiang was still steadily displaying his powers, controlling them extremely precisely. In an hour, 500 sets of medicinal ingredients caused the faces of the elders who were in charge of managing the medicinal ingredients to turn green, especially when they saw Chen Xiang giggling while coming up to receive the medicinal ingredients. They could not help but want to slap him. Although he was the new king, his heart was bleeding as he saw the large amount of high-grade ground-level S that were being stored in the myriad Dan immortal country being swept away like the wind and clouds. If it was given to them to refine, they would at most get 2 relive Dan pills each. On the other hand, Chen Xiang had 4 pills, causing the price of the ingredients to double, which was why their hearts would ache. It was done. Chen Xiang exhaled, and the 2,000 relive Dan were completed. It was also at this time that He Peiqing ordered someone to ring the gong, and the compet. 1 Tian ended. Chen Xiang refined a total of 10,000 relive Dan S and 18,000 5 elements profound Dan, making a total of 28,000 points. He was ranked first and second place was still Long Peirong. The third place was a bit unexpected. It was neither the Bai Xia Dan Immortal nor Li Tianjun, but the Holy Dragon Dan Immortal. The fourth place was Li Tianjun, the fifth place was the sixth Devil-Suppressing Divine Palace, the seventh was Du Hai, the eighth was Xiao Profound Yun, and the ninth and 10th place were the mysterious Dan Immortal that He Peiqing had sent. According to what they had agreed upon, Chen Xiang being able to obtain the pellet that they refined made many people jealous and envious. This was a huge amount of wealth. Some people even felt sorry for He Peiqing, even though he had just become the king of the immortal country. Alchemists who have not entered the top 10, please leave the stage. Everyone, rest for 6 hours. Then, we will continue with the finals and cannot leave the stage. He Peiqing was afraid that Chen Xiang would leave after getting a huge sum of money, and was also worried that he would be taken away by someone else after walking out of the compet. 1 Tian Grounds. He naturally suspected that Chen Xiang was related to the Tianshan holy fruit, so he wanted to capture Chen Xiang as well. Moreover, Chen Xiang was currently in his myriad Dan immortal country. As the king, how could he let others capture him in front of him? The green dragon demon-slain broadsword and cultivation techniques on Chen Xiang's body, of course he would also think of it. It was something that could raise his strength by a large amount. Chen Xiang sat down on the ground and closed his eyes to rest. Just at this time, the Holy Dragon Dan Immortal stood up and walked over to him. That guy is approaching in full fury, it seems like he's here to cause trouble. Long Shui said, if it really comes down to it, I'll make my move and join hands with you to kill him. Then, I'll have your master take you away. If they met Imperial Dragon Clan, Long Shui would always want to kill them. He did not understand why there was such hatred between Long Shui and the current Imperial Dragon Clan. No need, he wouldn't dare to do that. Chen Xiang said. Seeing the Holy Dragon Dan Immortal walk towards Chen Xiang, everyone's eyes lit up. They knew there was hope. They were only suspecting that he was Chen Xiang now, but they could not confirm it, and this Holy Dragon Dan Immortal was extremely aggressive. It seemed like he dared to do it because of the Dragon Emperor's support, and He Peiqing and the others did not plan to stop him, but they hoped that this Holy Dragon Dan Immortal would do something, and confirm that he really wanted it to happen. Chen Xiang sat there without moving, his eyes still closed, as if he had fallen asleep. Are you Chen Xiang? This Holy Dragon Dan Immortal was extremely direct, and immediately asked him the moment he arrived at his side. Chen Xiang did not answer and pretended not to hear. He felt that there was no need to answer. You don't even dare to say who you belong to? What's the point of you living like this? The holy dragon Dan Immortal sneered, his handsome face full of ridicule. Chen Xiang originally only wanted to face it silently, but the other party had provoked him so fiercely, he could not tolerate it anymore. Chen Xiang laughed. In the previous round I have already defeated you twice. You think that there's no meaning in me living, but you can't even compare to someone like me, who doesn't deserve to be alive. Why don't you hurry up and die? In any case, Chen Xiang had already gifted him a holy dragon for death before. With a certain level of experience, he wasn't afraid of killing this dragon in front of him. The holy dragon Dan Immortal was a bit angry, but he kept his cool and asked, "Are you Chen Xiang or not? You only need to answer whether I am or not." Chen Xiang stood up, and the smile on his face disappeared, and he said coldly, "Who do you think you are? Why must I tell you?" Hearing Chen Xiang's words, everyone secretly perspired for him. He actually dared to say what this holy dragon was. He had a dragon emperor on him. It was possible that he was this holy dragon's father. However, everyone was even more certain that he was Chen Xiang. This was because only Leader S would not be afraid of dragons, and they would always be at odds with dragons. Looking at Chen Xiang's expression, he seemed to want to attack even more than the holy dragon. "You? Could it be that you don't know?" Chen Xiang suddenly sneered, and interrupted him. "Oh, I thought you were powerful, but I didn't think you would have to move your backer out. Although I am weak, I have never done such a shameful thing." The Dan Immortal was furious. Walking in the Heaven Realm, using the name of the Imperial Dragon Clan and the father of the Dragon Emperor was indeed harmful. Just his reputation alone was enough to scare people to death. But if he were to bring it out now, it would be a sign of weakness. C-1348 Finally, the finals are here. C-1348 Finally, the finals are here. The holy dragon Dan Xian was speechless. He had thought that the person in front of him would be extremely afraid of him, because the Dragon Emperor was also here. Furthermore, he was a holy dragon himself, but who would have thought that he would actually contradict him like this? Chen Xiang sat down and closed his eyes to continue his rest. The divine dragon Dan Xian was furious and anxious. She really wanted to kill Chen Xiang with a single palm strike. He endured the pain in his heart as she turned around to return to her seat. Chen Xiang wouldn't admit his ident. 1. Tie now, because the finals were about to start. He would be able to obtain that divine cauldron very soon, and if he admitted it now, then something would happen that would make him unable to partake. 1p8. This fellow must be joking, Long Shui said with a laugh. He thought that everyone would be extremely afraid of their royal dragon clan, and that you would answer whenever he casually asked. He should be very inexperienced. Because of his own holy dragon, he is very arrogant, and I think it would be the same even if he was in the royal dragon clan. Chen Xiang said. This guy definitely thinks that he is too high up in the world, so he won't go into the mortal world to train. His background and the environment he grew up in is what he is destined to be, unless he comes to some realization later on. Long Shui understood these imperial dragon very well. Right now it was resting time. Originally, they had thought that there would be a show to watch, but who knew that the divine dragon Dan Xian would actually submit? Most of the people present were sure that the pill-refining madman was Chen Xiang, because there were some Astonies. HI+ing deeds regarding Chen Xiang's pill refining that had been said over from DT on previously, even some of the alchemists knew about it. At the same time, they also wanted to see what kind of existence this sect leader, who had founded the Dragon Subduing School with the slaying of dragons as the goal of the sect was. At the same time, they also wanted to see the famous green dragon demon slain broadsword from the ninth heaven. Junior brother, don't be afraid, your eldest senior brother and I will protect you. Furthermore, the king of Human King Immortal Kingdom is here as well, and Meng Heir's parents are also here. Our strength is not bad, so we will definitely not let anything happen to you. Xiao Xianyun felt the atmosphere become a little tense, because the people around him were all discussing how the great powers would deal with Chen Xiang. Thank you, junior sister. However, I do not need you to worry about me for now. I have long been prepared for this. Chen Xiang replied. Can't you just call me senior sister? Xiao Xianyun scoffed. Hee, can't you just call me senior brother? We all concoct pills and become master. As your senior, I should be very qualified to be you. Chen Xiang laughed. Xiao Xianyun no longer bothered about this matter with Chen Xiang, or else she really would have submitted and lost later. She didn't want to be this brat's junior sister. Is Master here? Why didn't I see him? Xiao Xianyun asked. He's here. Like me, Master is a troublesome person, so he doesn't want to disturb the quiet life of the two of you. Chen Xiang said. We're not afraid of being disturbed at all. With him around, I'm relieved. Xiao Xianyun sighed softly. Just now, Xiao Xianyun was having a hard time refining pills, so she only chatted with Chen Xiang for a bit before resting. Chen Xiang recovered very quickly, with the help of the yin and yang God blood in his body. He was able to absorb the immortal qi at an Astoni's Hi plus ing rate. Adding on the medicinal pills he had consumed, he would quickly recover to his peak condition. After about 2 hours, Long Huishan's voice suddenly appeared in his mind. Chen Xiang, is that you? I am your big sister Long. Long Huishan asked. Chen Xiang pondered for a moment, then replied to the divine sense in his mind. Big sister Long, long time no see, how have you been? Long Huishan was only able to send a sound transmission to Chen Xiang through a large formation with the help of the very high elder. Brat, you didn't even come to the heaven realm to find me. Do you think I'm not powerful enough to deal with a God of pests like you? Long Huishan's tone before was still very gentle, but now it had become extremely berserk. That's not it. I just want to try it by myself. It's good for me, so I thank elder sister for her concern. Alright, how is little Ling doing at your place? Chen Xiang asked. She's your little sister, and also my little sister. You don't have to worry about her. I gave her and she's currently in a deep sleep fusing with the dragon pearl. Once I finish fusing with her, her body and other aspects will improve greatly and the disadvantages of having her strength raised will gradually disappear. Long Huishan said, What about you? You're in a very bad situation right now. Do you want me to go? No need. Chen Xiang said, but his heart was warm, because many people still cared about him. You've helped me so much, can't you let me help you? If the compet 1. tie-in is over, those great powers will definitely surround you. When that happens, how will you break out of the encirclement? At the very least, our Long family can make an opening for you to escape. Long Huishan said in dissatisfaction, because she really wanted to help Chen Xiang. Big sister, just watch. When the compet 1. tie-in is over and I've finished with my work, I'll come and find you. Even if Huang Jintian was not here, he could still have run away by herself. He did not want the Long family to face off against so many forces. The 3 hours of rest quickly said by. Currently, there were only 10 alchemists on the wide compet 1. tie-in grounds and they were about to enter the finals. This was also what Chen Xiang was looking forward to very, very much. At the same time, he was also a bit worried because the rules for the compet 1. tie-in wasn't something that was set completely at the start, but rather something that was announced just before every match. This made Chen Xiang extremely dissatisfied. Before, everyone's performance was very outstanding. Now, it's not easy to reach this step. There's still one more match, and we'll see who's the final winner. Now we announce the rules of the tournament. Our rules are always very fair, and the same goes for the third match. The third round will be different from the previous matches. We will use a method that will determine the victor in this round. This way, everyone can focus more on concocting a batch of pills and bring out all of their strength. In terms of numbers, no one could compare to Chen Xiang, so the third round did not depend on numbers to win. It was equivalent to weakening Chen Xiang's advantage. In this final round, we will only focus on the quality of the pills. In order for alchemists to focus on refining pills, we will not compete in speed or quantity, but in quality. Hearing this, Chen Xiang laughed coldly in his heart, because these were all his forte. In this way, it was equivalent to weakening his two advantages. If we're just looking at the quality, then this isn't easy to judge. Because at our level, the quality of the pills we concoct will be of the highest quality. The Danshan said. That's not right, high-quality goods also have peak quality S. Du Hai said. But, how should we judge if everyone is refining a high-quality pill together? What Danshan said was also what everyone wanted to ask. When refining pills, do you all want to request for a type of pill? If you refine high-quality pills, it will be unfair to the alchemist who can only refine low-quality pills. If you refine low-quality pills, some alchemists are unable to display their abilities, Long Perong said. He Peiqing laughed and continued to speak. The problem that everyone is talking about, I had already thought about it a long time ago, that our myriad Dan immortal country's alchemist would come up with an immortal artifact that can be used to determine the quality of a weapon. He Peiqing took out a round plate. In the middle of the plate there was a depression in the ground, and on it He Peiqing placed a low-grade ground-level low-grade, an extremely poor quality, pill. He only saw the pointer on the round plate turn, and then it stopped at the word 3. The quality of this pill is only 3. As He Peiqing said that, he took another high-grade heaven-level pellet, which was of poor quality, and with the spin of the needle, it stopped at 4. Following that, He Peiqing even had the alchemist who was in the finals inspect it carefully to confirm that there were no problems with the immortal equipment. They tried putting the pills into various ranks, and the quality was similar to what they had expected. The highest quality pills ranged from 50 to 70, and there were a few with extremely high quality pills that could reach up to 80. The finger array S on the plate could at most be counted as 100. What if it exceeds 100? Xiao Xianyan asked. The peak quality that our myriad Dan immortal country's 7th stage Dan Xian refined has reached 97, but there hasn't been over 100 of it yet. If it's over 100, then the finger array will take another spin, and our refiner thinks that 100 is considered to be the peak. He Peiqing said. Chen Xiang had Long Shui inspect the immortal equipment carefully, but he did not find any signs of connection with other people, so he was not afraid of He Peiqing and the others cheating. Furthermore, they did not dare, as the Partic 1p ants of the Love Compet 1 Tian were the great powers such as Royal Dragon Clan, Fire Temple, Demon Suppressing Temple, and the Long Family. That is to say, when everyone is refining pills, you all can choose to refine your own best pills, and everyone should have the herbs. If not, you can also buy them from us, and in the end, you all have to judge by the quality of the pill, and everyone has tried that immortal equipment, so no matter what pill you choose, everyone should be able to see the results of the test. That is to say, when everyone is refining pills, you all can choose to refine your own best pills, and everyone should have the herbs. If not, you can also buy them from us, and in the end, you all have to judge by the quality of the pill, and everyone has tried that immortal equipment, so no matter what pill you choose, everyone should be able to see the results of the test. As long as you refine the pellets that you are most adept at, and raise the quality to the peak, you would be considered an extraordinary alchemist. He Peiqing said. Chen Xiang secretly heaved a sigh of relief. He never thought that the final round would be so fair. We have the immortal equipment used for that test too. I didn't think that Myriad Dan immortal country would be able to get it out. There shouldn't be a problem. This is considered fair. Looks like Myriad Dan immortal country would use this method in the end. I believe they are confident in their two alchemists. Lu Zhongyu said, then looked at Lu Menger and asked, Menger, how powerful is that Chen Xiang in terms of the quality of pill refining? He was once able to refine peak quality S in the sacred Dan realm, and even 2 of them. Right now, he must have made a huge breakthrough in the area of alchemy, but he shouldn't be able to refine them all at that time, but if he wants to win, he should be very confident in winning. Lu Menger said. G. Wakewan laughed. Seems like Yuner had an exchange with junior brother, and we'll let the 2 of them have a go at this. Honestly speaking, I really don't know who should win. On the other hand, had decided to refine a Hunyuan Dan, and he still had a portion of Hunyuan Dan's medicinal ingredients on hand. The best quality pills Chen Xiang had refined was not the peak quality, but pills that had produced holy light. Chen Xiang was very confident in himself, but the others did not see him in that way, especially He Peiqing. He had racked his brains to come up with such a rule, because if he did, he would be able to increase the distance between Chen Xiang and the other Dan Immortal. In common sense, the pills refined by the Dan Immortal were much better than those refined by the other Dan King, especially when the Dan Immortal was extremely serious about refining pills. It was easiest to refine peak quality without chasing after speed or quant. 1 tie of pills. He Peiqing stayed in the myriad Dan Immortal country for a very long time. He had never seen a Dan King or pill sect that could refine a peak quality, and most of them could only do so by using the Dan Immortal S themselves. Of course, this rule also favored the 2 mysterious Dan Immortal S that he had sent over. Because those 2 Dan Immortal S were extremely skilled in refining peak quality, they also had a fighting chance, and 2 of them at that. Using 12 hours to focus on 1 furnace of pills, he would definitely not be lacking anything. Previously, everyone had seen how terrifying Chen Xiang was when he was refining pills, but they were more inclined to the way Chen Xiang did it. Because he was fast, he produced a lot of pills and the quality was high. The match begins. The gong vibrated, and Alchemist took out the herbs. Right now, they were not in a hurry, because there was no need to rush it anymore. This way, they could truly display their abilities very well. Chen Xiang took out the Hunyuan Dan's medicinal ingredient. Seeing the Hunyuan fruit and the Hunyuan tree root in his hands, everyone was a little surprised, because everyone originally thought that he did not know how to refine the heaven-level pellet. However, in the previous match, he did not refine it, but thinking about it, he could understand, because he could win even if he refined a ground-level pill, so of course he would refine a ground-level pill, and also get a large amount of ground-level pellet. Chen Xiang took out the 7-star treasure furnace. Currently, every alchemist was carefully organizing the medicinal ingredients, and a few elders who were in charge of supervising the compet. 1. Tian walked down to check every alchemist's pill furnace in order to prevent anyone from hiding things inside in advance to cheat. And according to the legends, the pill furnace Chen Xiang used was similar to the Yanlong furnace S refined by Yanlong Z. It was a holy level dragon artifact, and was many times more precious than the top-grade immortal equipment, but now, he still did not take it out at this crucial point, making people wonder if he was Chen Xiang. Now, Chen Xiang did not need to hide it anymore, it was just that everyone did not understand how the water jar furnace could help Chen Xiang with his foreseeing alchemy. Of course, it would be better to use Yanlong furnace, but no one could be sure if that was the Yanlong furnace before, so he did not plan to take it out. There were too many people who knew what was happening, and once he took it out, they would definitely recognize him. Chen Xiang observed for a while and discovered that the other Dan Immortal S had all chosen to refine high-grade heaven-level pills. Previously, when they went to gather the ingredients, they still had a lot left, so they did not lack high-grade heaven-level ingredients, but to refine immortal pills, 24 hours was simply not enough. Moreover, it was not something that could be casually bought. In order to purchase a superior-grade heaven-level pill, one had to first pay a fee of spiritual crystal at some large pill stores and then wait for the notification. Sometimes it would take up to a year or so to arrive. Furthermore, most powers would not sell high-grade heaven-level pills. This was because it was very useful to worldly immortals, and they had the most number of worldly immortals in each power. Do you want to use that method? Su Meiyao asked. The method she was talking about was letting the herbs be refined by hand, which would allow him to better control the quality of the ingredient. If he were to use the G.O.D. purification in the pill furnace, the results wouldn't be that good. After all, he was pursuing the highest quality. This is the only way. For the sake of the divine cauldron. Chen Xiang said. Only Wan. Ji Qiangjin had seen everyone here, so once Chen Xiang used it, he would be able to immediately confirm Chen Xiang's identity. Initially, this was how Chen Xiang defeated her, but at that time, Chen Xiang had turned into an old man, pretending to be a mysterious elder of the dragon subduing school. Chen Xiang opened the lid of the pill furnace and threw all the supplementary ingredients in. Surprisingly, no main ingredient was put in, which made people feel weird, because most of the situations were done at the same time. One of the Hunyuan Dan's main ingredients, Hunyuan fruit, was currently on top of Chen Xiang's palm. He slightly frowned, looked at the Hunyuan fruit in his palm, and a ball of multicolored flames suddenly rose out of nowhere, covering the entire palm of his hand, burning the Hunyuan fruit. What is he doing? Long Huishan said in shock. He's refining Hunyuan fruit. His pill refining method was originally the same as before, but before it was done in the pill furnace, and now he directly uses the medicinal ingredients on his own body, allowing him to better control the quality of the medicinal ingredients refined. The very high elder immediately saw through it. If Chen Xiang was here, he would definitely be surprised, because he could roughly guess the principles behind the G.O.D. purification. It's actually him. Wan. Ji Qiangjin's expression changed greatly, and then he told her about when she went to Dragon Subduing City to compete in pill refining. This B.A.S.T.A.R.D. I didn't think that he would run out of that divine seal array a long time ago and play the part of an elder to fiercely defeat me. I didn't think that he would be the one to defeat me. Ji Qiangjin's face was filled with anger. This little B***starred is definitely going to win. The pills he concocts will definitely have a light to them, and their quality has already exceeded the limit. Wan. Ji Qiangjin's words caused all the other big shots of Fire Divine Palace in the VIP box to be shocked. They were all strong pract. 1. Tioniers who controlled strong flames, so they knew about the pill refining process and the pill light. Chen Xiang was not someone who could give out elixirs with a single furnace of Hunyuan Dan. After that one time, he had also refined many pots of Hunyuan Dan, but none of them could give out elixirs. It seems like the pill's appearance was coincidental. If you don't have a breakthrough now, I'm afraid you won't be able to obtain the pill's glow and might not get first place. I believe you already have a plan. Seeing that Chen Xiang was so confident, she must be confident in refining a Hunyuan Dan that could emit the light of the pills. Chen Xiang did not reply. Instead, he carefully looked at the Hunyuan fruit on his palm that was being incinerated by the multicolored heavenly fire. After a while, he said, don't disappoint me. Su Meiyao chuckled, and you're Yu Yi sis. At this moment, the Compet.I.Tian arena was completely empty. Only the 10 alchemists were here, and moreover, there was no longer the nervous atmosphere from before, because currently, the alchemists were competing not in terms of speed, but in terms of extreme quality. At this moment, the Compet.1. Tian arena was completely empty. Only the 10 alchemists were here, and moreover, there was no longer the nervous atmosphere from before, because currently, the alchemists were competing not in terms of speed, but in terms of extreme quality. In order to allow these 10 alchemists to display their level of power, the Compet.1. Tian had even activated a sound-isolating array, which could isolate the noise outside and allow the alchemist to have a quiet environment. Right now, they were only a step away from becoming first place. In order to refine the highest quality pellets, they had to use their strongest power to refine pills, and every alchemist had a serious expression on their face, not relaxing in the slightest. Other than Chen Xiang, the other 9 had all been Dan Immortales, and some of them were extremely famous. When Chen Xiang saw that all of the Dan Immortal had given their all, he immediately felt a lot of pressure. He would not allow such a thing to happen, so he chose to use his most powerful pill refining abilities. That's the only way. Chen Xiang frowned. The flames spewed out from the center of his palm suddenly flickered with a burst of strong light, after which it erupted with multicolored light S.H.I. plus Ning in all directions. Seeing this scene, everyone was silent for a moment before they suddenly cried out in alarm. Isn't that the legendary 7-colored heavenly fire? It is said that there are only a few people in the 9 heavens who can use the 7-colored heavenly fire. I did not expect that I would actually see it with my own eyes in this compet. 1 Tian. It is really amazing. Isn't the Long family's Dan Immortal able to release the sacred fire? He might already be using it right now, and it's even stronger than the 7-colored heavenly fire. That's not necessarily true. The sacred flame is too powerful, and it doesn't mean that it can be used. Releasing it wouldn't be of much use if you can't control it well. But now, this person can control the rainbow heaven flames so well, so much better than releasing the sacred flame. Everyone had heard about the rainbow sky flame. However, they were able to witness it with their own eyes. They felt that their trip this time around had not been in vain. Chen Xiang had released the rainbow heaven flame, but the other 9 Dan Immortales all felt a great amount of pressure, because being able to control this flame to refine pills was extremely helpful in raising the quality of the pills. Legend has it that Long Peirong could use the sacred flame, but the compet 1 Tian had lasted for a long time, and the other Dan Immortales had yet to sense the holy fire aura Long Peirong released from her furnace. Although the rainbow heaven flame was strong, and was very useful in refining pills, it was currently crazily burning the innate qi in Chen Xiang's body. Chen Xiang had already calculated this beforehand, so even if he used the rainbow heaven flame, the powerful 9 heavenly pellets in his body would be more than enough to use up the vast innate qi. Very High Elder, if Granny Long uses the sacred fire, can she refine a pill that can release the sacred light? Long Huishan was also surprised to see Chen Xiang able to use the rainbow sky fire. She did not expect to actually grow so fast without seeing Chen Xiang for a period of time. Yan Xilan asked curiously, "Is Granny Long's sacred flame really, as those people say, unusable?" Then, he looked at the ball of flames in Chen Xiang's palm that was shooting out multicolored light, and said, "Letting out the sacred flame itself already requires the consumption of a large amount of innate qi. Last time I taught her how to use it, she had only released a hair's size, and the innate qi on her entire body was completely used up." "How strong was she back then?" Long Huishan asked. "Late-stage immortal monarch. Although she is now an immortal king, the sacred fire won't take long. Whether she can use a little of the sacred fire to refine pills will depend on herself. If possible, this will undoubtedly be a huge breakthrough." The Very High Elder sighed. Yan Xilan was now even more respectful to the Very High Elder. To be able to teach others how to use the sacred flame, his cultivation must not be simple. Perhaps he had already said the immortal king. When Chen Xiang refined the Hunyuan fruit with the 7-colored heaven flame, he had even injected a special kind of energy from the rainbow heaven flame into the medicinal powder. The powder was a divine energy that had been baked by the 7-colored heaven flame, mixed with the medicinal herbs, causing the quality to be even higher. After 4 hours, Chen Xiang very slowly and earnestly refined the Hunyuan fruit, and at this moment, he had a ball of mist in his palm that was radiating light all around. He carefully placed the refined Hunyuan fruit into the 7-star explosion furnace, then took out the Hunyuan tree root and continued to use the rainbow heaven flame to refine it, and he also poured a small amount of the rainbow heaven flame into the furnace to refine it. Just as Chen Xiang had just started to refine the Hunyuan tree root with the rainbow heaven flame, he suddenly sensed a burst of strong fire aura floating towards him. Chen Xiang was not the only one who sensed it. Everyone in the arena could feel that. He Peiqing anxiously took a few steps back, because the feeling of danger from the flame was simply too great. Is this the sacred fire? Chen Xiang frowned, beads of perspiration actually appearing on his forehead. The other Dan Immortals were also moved, because that berserk flame was inside Long Peirong's pill furnace. It seemed as if it could erupt at any time. It is precisely the sacred fire. It is indeed terrifying. Su Meiyao said. The flame little scoundrel released last time, which means that the flames inside his innate qi can be consumed in one breath. Long Shui asked. I don't know yet, but it seems that it is much more terrifying than the sacred flame. I wonder what kind of flame it is? Su Meiyao said. The junior master who taught me alchemy in the past was also able to use the sacred flame. He was different from the flames that little scoundrel used, so the one he used wasn't the sacred flame. Once Long Peirong used the sacred flame, his face immediately became serious, and the sacred flame did not last for long, but in the eyes of many, it was extremely powerful, and could be used for a short period of time, which would be of great help in refining pills. Of course, Chen Xiang's rainbow heaven flame was even better, but it was just that it was not easy for him to cultivate it. As for how to cultivate and master these powerful heaven flames, he had never found a way to do it, and it was said that the majority of it was due to his fortuitous encounters, while the sacred flame was a method of cultivation, but it was not something that anyone could use, because the consumption of innate qi was too terrifying. Even an immortal king would not be able to withstand the consumption. If it was in the past, a cauldron like this would only last 6 hours at most, but now, after 6 hours, no one had opened the pill furnace. It was obvious that it was of high quality, and every alchemist would slow down their pace and diligently refine it. Chen Xiang had already refined the Hunyuan tree root and placed it into the pill furnace. Seeing Chen Xiang's rainbow heaven flame, Lu Meng'er said softly, with this kind of flame, it would be a bit of a waste if I don't refine it. I wonder if he will have time in the future. I'll teach him how to refine artifacts. Seeing Chen Xiang's rainbow heaven flame, Lu Meng'er said softly, with this kind of flame, it would be a bit of a waste if I don't refine it. I wonder if he will have time in the future. I'll teach him how to refine artifacts. My master also used a lot of time to cultivate and produce the 7-colored heavenly fire, but this brat is the same age as Xianxian, yet he can control the 7-colored heavenly fire so easily. No wonder he was so ambitious, daring to create a dragon-subduing school, and dared to fight against so many powers. Lu Zhongyu sighed. I wonder if Junior Apprentice Brothers Dragon-Subduing School still wants more people. I should be able to go and mix in with the elders or something like that. Ji Weiquan grinned. Master, the elders in the young master's dragon-subduing school are all a bunch of brats. Yun Xiaodao, Zhu Rong and the rest of the little brats are all elders of the dragon-subduing school. If you go, you will definitely be looked down upon by them. Hua Xiangyue laughed. So that's how it is. No wonder when I was going to introduce Master to them, they weren't interested in the slightest, and instead had a very arrogant look on their faces. Ji Weiquan laughed. Lu Meng'er said, Xianxian, Yulan and the rest are often sparring with that group of brats. That group of brats are also quite strong, and they all cultivate very mysterious skills. Don't forget that Dragon Subduing School has a very powerful Great Elder who can fight against Dragon Emperor. Back then, when Lu Meng'er's group was stopped by the Dragon Emperor, it was the White Tiger that suddenly appeared and told the Dragon Emperor to retreat. That means we underestimated that group of brats before. However, aren't they too low profile? They even acted sloppy all the time, and no matter how you look at it, they don't seem like the elders from a large power. Right now, Yun Xiaodao and the others were in the Human King Immortal Country, but they did not join the Human King Immortal Country. Initially, Wu Songhong and Lu Zhongyu had the intention to rope Chen Xiang in, but this was not realistic, because Chen Xiang was originally a leader from a big sect. However, forming an alliance with him was not a problem. The final match wouldn't determine one's ranking, but first place was the most meaningful match. Currently, everyone was trying their best to concoct the best quality pills and compete for first place. From the looks of it, anyone could possibly get first place because these 10 alchemists were all very skilled. This was a mysterious Dan Immortal sent by He Peiqing. He was able to refine a high-grade heaven-level pill, a 9 primal creation pellet, refined from 9 nature fruit, a good fortune pellet refined from one of them was a mid-grade heaven level, far inferior to the 9 primal creation pellet. The market for this kind of pill was very big, it was one of the most favored pills of many immortals, and the price was not low either. There were several Dan Immortal who were present to refine this type of pill, because the ingredients for the 9 elements creation pill were more abundant. As long as one was not too poor, they could be bought with a large number of spiritual crystal. The Dan Immortal was very confident in his 9 yuan creation pill. After he was done concocting, he immediately went to the testing immortal equipment and placed the pill in the middle of the concave. The finger array on top of the disc immediately rotated, and then stopped at the 88 mark, which was actually not above 90%. This made He Peiqing feel disappointed. To these Dan Immortals, it could be said that they had spent a long time concocting a batch of high-grade heaven-level pills in 18 hours, but the quality was still so poor. Could be seen that this Dan Immortal was not that amazing. There were many famous Dan Immortal under the myriad Dan Immortal country, but they could not partake. 1p8 in the compet. 1 Tian. The hosts could not send people to partake. 1p8. Afterwards, the devil-suppressing divine palace also completed it. It was also a 9 yuan creation pill. From the fragrance and the clouds of light outside, one could not see the exact quality, because all the high-quality pills were like that, but this was not peak quality. The specialty of the devil-suppressing divine palace was not pill refining, but it was already pretty good for them to have such a powerful Dan Immortal. He came to the side of the immortal testing tool and started his test. The needle fiercely turned and jumped to 94. The devil-suppressing divine palace was very satisfied with his result, and revealed a smile on his face. The peak quality refined by myriad Dan Immortal country's 7th stage Dan Immortal was also only 97 years old, but it was still 3 years away from being refined. However, the higher the quality of a technique, the more easily one would be able to break through. Although there was a difference of 3 levels, it was still possible that he would find it difficult to break through to this level in his entire lifetime. The 3rd Dan Immortal to complete was Imperial Dragon Clan's Holy Dragon Dan Immortal. Many people believed that there was a high chance for him to get first place, because he had performed exceptionally well in the previous compet. 1 Tian. What he had refined was a heaven-level Holy Dragon's Blood pill. This pill's medicinal ingredients were probably only easy to obtain by their Holy Dragon's blood. The main ingredient was the Holy Dragon's essence blood. Holding the golden pellet in his hand, he confidently came to the side of the testing disc. He was confident that he could surpa S devil-suppressing divine palace. The finger array rotated and stopped at the 96th mark. Seeing this result, everyone was secretly surprised, because it was just a little bit away from the peak quality. Seeing that he had been defeated, the Dan Immortal's smile disappeared as he shook his head and sighed. However, the final result was not out yet, because there were still 7 Alchemist-S that had not been completed, and these 7 Alchemist-S were all very powerful. The 4th to complete pill was Du Hai, who was a 3rd-grade Dan Immortal. This kind of Dan Immortal could be considered relatively N.O.B.L.Y. and he was Partic. 1p. Aiding in the compet. 1. Tie-in on behalf of the sacred Dan realm, so he refined a high-grade heaven level called Great Nirvana Pill. After consuming this kind of pill, he would let himself fall into a deep sleep, and then recover from his injuries at a terrifying rate, suitable for the severely injured and unconscious Dan immortal to consume. After Du Hai placed the Great Nirvana Pill on top, he turned his finger towards the 94th place, causing him to helplessly talk. Although he did not get first place, he still knew his own level. Right now, the one in the lead was still the Holy Dragon Dan Immortal, with a score of 96. Following that, Li Tianjun also completed the process. He had also concocted the 9-yuan creation pellet, which made people feel that he had a higher chance of obtaining the points. At this moment, the face of the Holy Dragon Dan Immortal tensed up. He was worried that Li Tianjun would surpass him. 96. He Peiqing said. If the final high score is the same, then how would it count? The Holy Dragon Dan Immortal heaved a sigh of relief and asked anxiously. In that case, all of you can continue to refine until a high and low level is determined. He Peiqing said. The peak quality that was refined by a 7th stage Dan Immortal was 97. Now that they had reached 96 and reached the highest level possible for a 7th stage Dan Immortal, both Li Tianjun and the Holy Dragon Dan Immortal were more satisfied with themselves. I'm finally done. When the Fire Divine Palace opened the furnace, it did not shoot out any light, so it was clear that it was not peak quality. At this moment, Li Tianjun was more concerned about the Bai Xia Dan Immortal's score. He had lost everything earlier because of this Bai Xia Dan Immortal, and it seemed like he had made a bet with this Bai Xia Dan Immortal. Therefore, the Bai Xia Dan Immortal's face was very heavy, because Li Tianjun's score was not low. I wonder how this Bai Xia Dan Immortal is doing. She's at least a 5th stage Dan Immortal, she shouldn't be too bad. Su Meiyao said. This Bai Xia Dan Immortal had once lost to her. It was said that after losing, she took off her clothes and strolled around in a palace. I wonder how this Bai Xia Dan Immortal is doing. She's at least a 5th stage Dan Immortal, she shouldn't be too bad. Su Meiyao said. This Bai Xia Dan Immortal had once lost to her. It was said that after losing, she took off her clothes and strolled around in a palace. What Bai Xia Dan Immortal refined was a Heaven's Longevity Pill, a high-grade heaven-level pill that could increase one's lifespan. She placed it in the middle of the disc and stared at the spinning pointer. 95. He Peiqing's voice made Bai Xia Dan Immortal's heart feel as if it was struck, and he retreated a few steps. It seemed like she and Li Tianjun had a huge bet, and it was obvious from her pale face. Even if Li Tianjun did not take first place, he had still won against Bai Xia Dan Immortal. As for what the bet was, that was something everyone wanted to know. Right now, the ones in the lead were Li Tianjun and the Holy Dragon Dan Immortal, but they still felt a lot of pressure, because Long Peirong had not completed his task. As for Chen Xiang, who could use the 7-colored heavenly fire, the low-grade heaven-level pills refined by him, they did not ignore them either, because in the previous 2 matches, Chen Xiang had been far ahead of everyone else and had taken first place. Xiao Profound Yun was done concocting the Sky Life pill. Of course she wanted to win, but the compet 1 Tian was 2 compet 1 Tive, so she just hoped that she was not too bad. After all, she was still very young, and Chen Xiang was already her 95 said. This result gave him some hope, because there was still one Dan Immortal he had sent out that hadn't completed the core formation stage. The same level as Bai Xia Dan Immortal. This caused Xiao Profound Yun to reveal a sweet smile, which made Bai Xia Dan Immortal look extremely unhappy. However, when Xiao Profound Yun saw Chen Xiang, his smile immediately disappeared. If Chen Xiang was stronger than her, then she would be considered as his junior sister. She had lost to Chen Xiang 3 times in a row, so she didn't have the confidence to compete with Chen Xiang for her number 2 position. Now there was still the mysterious Dan immortal sent by Chen Xiang, Long Peirong and the others. Long Peirong and Chen Xiang both had their eyes closed. It was obvious that there was still some time before the pill condense stage, and the mysterious Dan immortal's pill furnace was already shaking slightly. It should be in the process of condensing a pill. Not long after, the Dan immortal that he Peiqing sent over opened the pill furnace, but no pill light still appeared, meaning that it was not peak quality. In the eyes of many Dan immortal, if they wanted to refine a peak quality, they would need a bit of luck or else it would be difficult to do so. 96. He Peiqing was more satisfied, because right now only the peak quality could surpass this number. Now, there were only Long Peirong and Chen Xiang. Since Long Peirong was able to use the sacred flame, many people thought that she could refine pills with light. At this moment, her pill furnace was shaking slightly, obviously concocting pills. Chen Xiang frowned slightly at this moment as he looked at Long Peirong's pill furnace with divine soul. The pill furnace stopped shaking, Long Peirong opened the pill furnace, and golden light shone out, the pill fragrance permeating everywhere. The holy dragon Dan immortal, Li Tianjun and He Peiqing all sighed in their hearts. The appearance of a pill light meant that it was definitely more than 96 times the number of people in the peak quality. The peak quality of the heaven-level pill could release a pill light, but the light was much weaker than the one Chen Xiang had refined previously. Calm down, you still have hope. Her pill light is too inferior to yours. Su Meiyao felt that Chen Xiang was getting impatient. She anxiously used her gentle voice to stabilize him. The more he hoped for it, the more afraid he would be of losing it. Right now, Chen Xiang was just like this because he really wanted to obtain that divine cauldron. However, when Long Peirong took out the pellet, he felt a sense of loss. Long Peirong lived up to everyone's expectations. The high-grade heaven-level pills that were refined gave off a rare pill light, and at this moment, she walked towards the testing platform with the peak quality in her hand. The high-grade heaven-level sacred animal Dan S made Long Shui immediately salivate. For people with dragon blood in their bodies, eating sacred animal Dan would also have an effect, which was why Long Peirong was able to refine this pill. 98. He Peiqing exclaimed. It was actually higher than the myriad Dan immortal countries' 7th stage peak quality. Although it was only an extra point, the difference was still huge. Otherwise, there wouldn't have been that many 96 of them previously. There are only 4 hours left before the compet. 1. Tian ends. He Peiqing looked at Chen Xiang and said, "Only he hasn't completed it yet. I wonder if he can bring us even more surprises." Chen Xiang was just an alchemist who knew how to refine heaven-level pills. To let him refine pills that were higher than the 98 levels was extremely difficult. Many people did not think highly of him, because he had to reach the 99 levels. I wonder if he can defeat Grandma Long? She's really amazing. Long Huishan said in a low voice. Let's wait and see. There are still 4 more hours. Deep in her heart, she hoped that Chen Xiang would take first place. Very High Elder, if it were you, how much quality would you have achieved? Long Huishan asked curiously. 97, 98 is fine. If I were to refine a few more batches, 99 is also possible. The Very High Elder chuckled. If that kid can defeat Ronger, I'll cut off my beard. Long Huishan laughed. You said it yourself. Don't go back on your words when the time comes. The Very High Elder was very confident in his daughter. He smiled and said, Ronger has already reached an extremely high level. She was able to use sacred flame for a very short period of time, which is why she was able to produce such a high quality. Even I may only be on par with her, this peak quality. Although Chen Xiang is exceptional, being able to control the rainbow heaven flames and walk a different path of alchemy, he is still too young, after all, and the result of the peak quality is something that would take many years to refine. If he knew that Chen Xiang had refined a Hunyuan Dan that released pill light before, he wouldn't have said that. Everyone was waiting for Chen Xiang, and Chen Xiang was just like the elder Uncle Li from before, sleeping. In Chen Xiang's previous 2 matches, his pill refining speed was truly terrifying, but the slowest one was still him, who gave people a feeling of unfathomability. It's not enough yet. If I can't find a solution to the problem, I will lose. Chen Xiang thought. The ball of energy inside the pill furnace had already been split into 4. He wanted to condense 4 Hunyuan Dan. Just when he was at his wit's end, he began to quickly flip through the heavenly alchemy. He remembered that he once read about a period where it had something to do with helping to raise one's quality. Very quickly, he found that part, only that it was somewhat difficult to control, and would consume all of the divine power in his body and the innate qi. Little naughty dragon, after I finish refining this pill, I will use up most of my energy. When that time comes, you must be careful. If anyone dares to sneak attack me, you must immediately take me with you, Chen Xiang said. Under the situation where he was surrounded by enemies, using up all of his energy was extremely dangerous. Long Shui immediately responded, "With me here, you can boldly go and torment yourself. Let them see your strength, and let this group of Biyumpkins, who have never seen the world, broaden their horizons." Long Shui immediately responded, "With me here, you can boldly go and torment yourself. Let them see your strength, and let this group of Biyumpkins, who have never seen the world, broaden their horizons." Towards Chen Xiang, Long Shui was full of confidence, and at the same time, she was also prepared to take action to protect Chen Xiang. Although Chen Xiang had yet to admit her identity, 1. Tai, most of the powerhouses had already confirmed that he was Chen Xiang. Chen Xiang was not confident that he could surpass Long Peirong in terms of quality, so he found a method from the heavenly alchemy that could help him improve the quality of the pills. He did not know what it was called, but it was one of the heavenly alchemy and could be considered a small technique, so it did not have a name like the Dewan refining method. Let's call it elemental increasing technique. Chen Xiang gave this method a name because it could improve quality. Although he was not sure if it would succeed, he still planned to give it a try. Although there were still 4 hours until the end of the compet. 1. Tian, everyone was waiting impatiently because at the moment only Chen Xiang was not done refining, and everyone was looking forward to it. Suddenly, Chen Xiang's pill furnace trembled. Upon seeing this, everyone became happy. They thought that it was a sign of condensing a pill, but after a slight tremble, it became motionless. However, all of the immortal qi in the entire arena was slowly surging towards Chen Xiang's pill furnace and formed a spiral around it. The dense immortal qi was emitting a faint white glow, and from afar, it looked extremely beautiful. Everyone did not know what was going on, but they knew that this was Chen Xiang's unique pill refining technique, and previously, Chen Xiang had already displayed a unique technique to refine a few hundred sets of medicinal ingredients at the same time. Now that something strange had occurred, everyone was not surprised. They were curious as to why he was doing this. "Very High Elder, what is he doing?" Long Huishan asked. Although the Long family she was in charge of was a great pill refining power in the sacred Dan realm, she did not know how to refine pills. "Seems like he's absorbing immortal energy into the pill furnace, so he wants to use immortal energy to improve the quality of the pill, but that won't work. Over the past 10 million years, many alchemists have tried. I have tried many times, but I was unable to use this method to improve the quality of the pill." That very high elder was also very suspicious, but he knew that Chen Xiang was different from the other alchemist, so he didn't try to blame it on Chen Xiang for his own failure. Chen Xiang was indeed absorbing a large amount of immortal energy into the pill furnace, but he was not injecting the pills into it to raise the quality of the pill. Rather, he was using the Yuan Ascension technique to simulate the immortal energy into the pills, becoming a type of strange energy that could perfectly fuse with the pill. As long as it was fused into the pill, it could improve the quality of the pill. However, it was extremely difficult because there were very few people who could simulate the large amount of immortal qi that had been absorbed. Furthermore, Chen Xiang had to release a large amount of innate qi and divine power to guide and refine the immortal qi. If one were to absorb immortal qi like a house, after transforming it into medicine aura and medicinal powder, they would only be as big as grains of sand, so they would need to absorb a lot of immortal qi. He had used up a large amount of God power and innate qi, and had even absorbed a large amount of immortal qi, all to change a tiny bit of the energy that could improve the quality of the medicinal pellet. Based on Chen Xiang's current strength, he would need to exhaust a whole 9 levels of power in his body in order to succeed. Other than Chen Xiang, no one knew what he was doing right now. It was just that he was using a mysterious technique of alchemy. Long Peirong had originally thought that she could take first place, but seeing how serious Chen Xiang was, she felt apprehensive. She rarely competed in pill refining, and even if they competed, she still won. Moreover, this was the first time she was competing in pill refining compet. Tie-ins in such a large scale. If she were to lose, it would definitely be a blow to her. Right now, the only person who was worried was probably Long Peirong alone, because the other 8 alchemists had already confirmed that they were not destined to be number 1. At this moment, they were patiently waiting here, just for the final result. She naturally hoped that Chen Xiang would win since Xiao Profoundyun was his junior sister and his sister, but she also felt that Long Peirong was very strong. Previously, when Long Peirong had entered the arena, there were many alchemists who were filled with reverence for her, and from then on, it could be seen. 2 hours pass. Said and Chen Xiang was still like that. The pill furnace was surrounded by dense immortal qi. After another half an hour, the people in the compet, 1. Tian grounds suddenly felt that Chen Xiang's pill furnace had stopped absorbing the immortal qi, and the innate qi in his body was also extremely scarce, showing how much energy he had expended. Everyone just noticed the change in Chen Xiang's pill furnace, and Chen Xiang immediately opened his eyes, but he did not open the pill furnace. He had not finished refining the pill, and was also very tired. He refined the pills from the other Hunyuan Dan, and gradually recovered his energy. "I'm done," Chen Xiang said, and everyone immediately became alert, staring at his pill furnace. Even if he is able to refine peak quality, at most he would be only at 97. Even if he is at 98, he would still be on the same level as me. I still have a chance at victory. Long Peirong thought. When Chen Xiang opened his eyes, the confident look in his eyes made everyone feel like he had already won. He slowly extended his hand towards the lid of the pill furnace, but he was unable to open it. It was obvious that the lid had been sucked in by a force. Chen Xiang increased his strength and finally lifted the lid a little, revealing a small crack. It was also at this time that a multicolored light suddenly shot out from the inside of the lid, like the one released by the 7-colored sky flames. However, it was much stronger than the 7-colored sky flames, because the light rays had a strong penetrating power that shot far away. Seeing these clouds of light, everyone was at a loss for words, especially the Dan Immortal, because they knew that this was a genuine pill light. Chen Xiang forcefully opened the lid. Following that, rainbow-colored light shot out from the pill furnace like a gust. Hi plus ing spring, instantly rust. Hi plus ing to the top of the immortal palace. The burst of rainbow-colored light did not dissipate. The 7-colored light pillar was dazzled by the colorful light mist, releasing a dense pill fragrance, penetrating into people's hearts, causing them to be extremely spirited. The most shocking thing was still the 4S. Hi plus Ning Hunyuan Dan pills in Chen Xiang's hands. Under these circumstances, he actually dared to pursue the quant. 1. Tie of the pellets, unlike the other alchemist who, in order to pursue quality, had only refined 1 pellet. Chen Xiang held the 4 pellets, and under everyone's astonished gaze, he walked to the side of the test disc. He casually took one pellet from his palm and placed it into the center of the indent on the test disc. Chen Xiang held the 4 pellets, and under everyone's astonished gaze, he walked to the side of the test disc. He casually took one pellet from his palm and placed it into the center of the indent on the test disc. At this time, the most touching moment had come. The Dan Immortals all surrounded over and stared at the pointer. Even though Long Peirong had lived for many years, she had never been as nervous as she was now. She was worried that she would lose. The finger array fiercely rotated. Everyone's eyes were fixated on the area between 95 and 100. Who would have thought that the needle would stop at 3 points after turning 100? Everyone was startled when they saw this scene. Then, they took a deep breath and looked at the needle in disbelief. The quality had actually exceeded 100 and reached 103. It was much higher than Long Peirong's 88, and it had already far surpassed, said Long Peirong's. Just as everyone was staring at him in a daze, Chen Xiang picked up the pellet, changed the pellet again, and rotated the finger array. Once, he turned the array around and also stopped at the 3rd pellet. Chen Xiang looked at He Peiqing and laughed. Now, you should be able to confirm the outcome of this compet. 1. Tian, right? He Peiqing slowly took a deep breath and said the small cauldron to Chen Xiang with great dissatisfaction. You're first. Even if He Peiqing was 1,000 times unwilling, he still wouldn't dare to act shamelessly in front of so many people. Chen Xiang took the divine furnace and immediately placed it inside his Yuyao ring. At the same time, a few of the big shots in the VIP boxes had already started to get excited. The match is over. He Peiqing also felt a little nervous because there would definitely be a lot of people stopping Chen Xiang in a bit. Chen Xiang took the divine furnace and walked towards the exit. Halt! Wait! The one who yelled stop was the Dan Immortal Holy Dragon, while the other one was He Feng. They all knew that the person in front of them was Chen Xiang. The Saint Dragon Dan Immortal looked at He Feng and thought nothing of it. In a flash, he arrived in front of Chen Xiang and asked coldly, You are Chen Xiang, you have my Imperial Dragon Clan's Supreme Divine Saber on you, quickly hand it over to me. Otherwise, you won't be able to walk out of here today. Chen Xiang had long since gotten used to this kind of thing. I don't understand what you're saying. Just as Chen Xiang finished speaking, a strong burst of pressure suddenly surged over, followed by a burst of extremely terrifying dragon chi gus. Hi+ing into the compet. 1. Tian grounds. A dozen people suddenly appeared beside the holy dragon Dan Immortal. Among them was a mighty middle-aged man. This middle-aged man was Dragon Emperor. Hand over the green dragon demon-slain broadsword, and we will not pursue the past matters. Dragon Emperor said indifferently. A pair of eyes filled with ruthlessness stared at Chen Xiang, causing Chen Xiang to feel immense pressure. What right do you have to say that the green dragon demon-slain broadsword is your Imperial Dragon Clan's? Chen Xiang asked. Bring out the evidence. Green dragon demon-slain broadsword were crafted by divine craftsmen. In the legends, they never mentioned anything about Imperial Dragon Clan. When Chen Xiang said this, he was undoubtedly admitting his ident. One tie. As matters stood, he had nothing to hide. He had long made his preparations. This Imperial Dragon Clan is really going too far. Ji Weiquan bellowed. He was about to head towards the compet. 1. Tian grounds, but Xiao Profound Yun suddenly walked in. Don't worry, everyone. Master is here. With him here, I'll be fine. Chen Xiang said. Chen Xiang had told her this before. Facing the Dragon Emperor, even the human king, immortal country felt a lot of pressure. Very High Elder do it, this Imperial Dragon Clan is too arrogant. Long Huishan stood up, his face was filled with anger. At this time, the people of Devil-Suppressing Divine Palace and Fire Divine Palace entered the compet. 1. Tian grounds. Chen Xiang, you have the Holy Devil-Suppressing Seal, quickly hand it over. It isn't yours. Chun Xiang, we have to settle the debts we owed D. Tian. The people of Devil-Suppressing Divine Palace and Fire Divine Palace took the chance to find an excuse to clash with Chun Xiang, as they had to get something from Chun Xiang's body no matter what. The people in front of him were all experts, powers that were on the level of Immortal Kings, and the Dragon Emperor was even stronger than the Immortal Kings, so Chun Xiang's current strength was not even worth mentioning in front of this group of people. Seeing that there was someone who also wanted a share of the loot, Dragon Emperor snorted. If you don't hand over the green dragon demon-slain broadsword, you will die. The Dragon Emperor was the strongest, and the strongest people from the Devil-Suppressing Divine Palace and the Devil-Suppressing Divine Palace were not present yet. Of course, they did not dare to fight against the Dragon Emperor, or else their powers would not be enough to contend against him. Brat, don't you have a Chaos Fire token with you? Use that thing and I'll go take you away. Huang Jintian said to Chun Xiang. Chun Xiang still had 4 Chaos Fire token that he had yet to fuse with. When he was fusing with the Chaos Fire token, he would release a protective divine light, and those who were hit by the light wouldn't be able to move. Chun Xiang stood there waiting for Huang Jintian's instructions. Previously, he had already wanted to use the Chaos Fire token, but he was worried that it would be of no use to the Dragon Emperor. If the Chaos Fire token is useful, you can take out the Holy Dragon Sword and stab it into the Dragon Emperor. At that time, the Dragon Emperor will definitely not defend against the Holy Dragon Sword. Long Shui said, and when the time comes, I will go and kill that Holy Dragon Dan Immortal. Today, I must let them know that even Dragon Emperor would suffer a loss in front of the Dragon Subduing School. When Chun Xiang heard it, he was secretly excited in his heart. A order badge suddenly appeared in his hand, and many people were staring at Chun Xiang, so when an order badge suddenly appeared in his hand, they immediately noticed it. Just as everyone was guessing what he was going to do, they suddenly saw a pool of blood flowing out of Chun Xiang's palm. It was the Chaos Fire token. Quick dodge! Just as Dragon Emperor wanted to leave, the light emitted by the Chaos Fire token had already shone onto his body, causing the people around him to be illuminated by the Chaos Fire token. The people surrounding Chun Xiang were all enveloped by the silvery white glow emitted by the Chaos Fire token. They were all frozen by the magical and powerful energy inside, unable to move. Attack, quick! Long Shui shouted and left Chun Xiang's body. Chun Xiang immediately took out the Holy Dragon Sword, and according to Long Shui's instructions, he would use the power of the Holy Dragon and stab towards Dragon Emperor's Dragon Pearl. Although he had stabbed in, he was still repelled by a very powerful force, and even if the Dragon Emperor was immobile, it would be hard for him to kill it. Just one sword strike is enough to stab him. You won't be able to kill him, go kill the other Immortal Kings. Chun Xiang immediately switched to the Green Dragon Demon-Slain Broadsword and locked onto Devil-Suppressing Divine Palace and the 2 strongest Immortal Kings. In that instant, he looked down at the heads of the 2 Immortal Kings and smashed their sky pills with the hammer of God. Just as Chun Xiang was about to take action against other people, Huang Jintian shouted, "Enough, do you not want to live anymore?" Chun Xiang only felt someone grabbing onto his calf, and his vision went black. When he could see clearly, he had already appeared in the middle of a huge lake. In the Compet.I.Tian grounds, when Long Huishan and the Very High Elder just arrived, they saw Chun Xiang taking out his Holy Dragon Sword and thrusting towards the Dragon Emperor. After that, he used his fastest speed to attack the 2 Immortal Kings, and then he was pulled into the ground and disappeared. In the Compet.I. Tian grounds, when Long Huishan and the Very High Elder just arrived, they saw Chun Xiang taking out his Holy Dragon Sword and thrusting towards the Dragon Emperor. After that, he used his fastest speed to attack the 2 Immortal Kings, and then he was pulled into the ground and disappeared. The protective divine light emitted by the Chaos Fire token had disappeared. Dragon Emperor, who could move, let out an angry roar. Chun Xiang! He was the one who killed the crown prince, and the holy dragon sword is in his hand. Dragon Emperor bellowed. His entire body was trembling as his killing intent surged. The entire audience was silent, because there was a blood hole on Dragon Emperor's body, and one of his arms had already been chopped off, leaving behind bursts of golden dragon blood. On the other side, 2 immortal kings fell to the ground. Their stomachs were split open and their heads fell to the side. These were the more powerful immortal kings among the devil-suppressing divine palace and devil-suppressing divine palace, but they were actually killed just now. As for the holy dragon Dan Immortal, he sat paralyzed on the ground. A large amount of blood was left on his abdomen, and his dragon pearl had already been taken away. The Dragon Emperor was truly worthy of being called the Dragon Emperor. He knew who killed his son and was even tricked ruthlessly, but he was unexpectedly calm. There were other people who attacked just now. One of them cut off my arm, and the other took away Long Lin's dragon pearl. The Dragon Emperor looked at the dead Fire Divine Palace and the immortal king of devil-suppressing Divine Palace coldly. That kid even used an incredible hammer to shatter their heavenly pellets through their bodies. When the people of Fire Divine Palace and Devil-Suppressing Divine Palace heard this, they became exceptionally furious. They never thought that Chen Xiang would be so crazy. When Prince Imperial Dragon was killed, it caused a huge commotion in the 9th heaven, and the person who actually killed Prince Imperial Dragon was actually Chen Xiang. Hammer. Is it a black hammer? This was the Hall Master who sealed Chen Xiang all those years ago. That's right, such a powerful hammer, Dragon Emperor said. His calmness at this moment made people shudder. Ice Emperor was killed by a person holding a black hammer. The old man clenched his fists. Chen Xiang did it. He also knew that Ice Emperor was in a half-dead state, but even if he was unable to kill Ice Emperor at all for the past 10 days, he had instead been killed by Chen Xiang. Long Huishan heard their conversation from afar and secretly cursed Chen Xiang in his heart. To actually do such a big thing again, there was no longer a need for her to help him. Ronger, come here. The very high elder shouted. Long Peirong was also frightened quite badly just now, so she anxiously went over to Very High Elder's side. Dragon Emperor glanced at the Long family's Very High Elder and furrowed his brows. Then, he brought the Imperial Dragon Clan's people and disappeared from the arena. Chen Xiang ascended to Heaven Realm. This was the first time he revealed his identity. 1. And at the same time, he did something extremely high-profile. This little junior brother really doesn't care about his life, but he escaped. Ji Wakewan heaved a sigh of relief. My uncle master is such a person, whoever wants to make a move against him will have a bad ending. The Fire Divine Palace and the Devil-Suppressing Divine Palace both lost an immortal king, and the Imperial Dragon Clan's Holy Dragon Dan Immortal was also destroyed. Hua Xiangyue said, I never thought that the Prince Imperial Dragon was actually killed by him. When I was at the Sacred Dan Realm, I thought that it was the Super Yuan sect leader, but this brat is really good at scheming, actually making the Super Yuan sect leader suffer, and the Dragon Emperor hasn't discovered this yet. Lu Menger said, Let's hurry back to Human King Immortal Country. Dragon Emperor is surprisingly calm. This is not a good thing. Wu Canghong said. Long Huishan also immediately returned to the Supreme Ocean Palace, cursing loudly all along the way. This little bastard actually really killed the Prince Imperial Dragon and even left a holy dragon sword in his hands. No wonder he left his ice dragon sword with me. In that case, the Super Yuan sect leader died unjustly and was killed by him. Yen Xilan chuckled. There were 3 people who acted just now, and one of them should be his master Huang Jintian. He was using the Taiji Dragon suppressed Kung Fu, and he also has a very powerful weapon that can cut off Dragon Emperor's arm. The Very High Elder had a stern expression. There's one more, why can't we see him? I thought it was Chen Xiang who did it. Long Peirong asked. The other one isn't a person, but a dragon. From the Qi, it should be a white dragon, and Chun Xiang has a white dragon by his side. Everything makes sense. The white dragon has obtained a lot of inherited memories, and there are even ancient records, so Chun Xiang probably got help from that white dragon. White dragon. Long Huishan was startled. Then doesn't that mean that this white dragon bears a deep grudge against the Sea of Blood? No wonder he helped Chun Xiang to make a move against Imperial Dragon Clan. The very high elder nodded his head and said, all of the Dragon Emperors know immediately that this is not only a personal grudge that involves him, but the life and death of the entire Imperial Dragon Clan. The legendary White Dragon of Vengeance has already appeared, and the prophecy said that the Imperial Dragon Clan would be destroyed, and this was all caused by the White Dragon. That's why the Imperial Dragon Clan killed the White Dragon back then. I didn't expect the White Dragon to still be alive, and not just that, but it was a very powerful White Dragon as well. Hui Shan, let's not get involved in this matter anymore. Chun Xiang is very powerful, there's no need for you to worry at all. If he can even kill Ice Swallow City, the hidden power he has is not something that you or I can imagine. The very high elder said to Long Huishan seriously. I know. Long Huishan sighed softly. What happened today was like a flood that spread through the 9 heavens. Chun Xiang looked at Huang Jintian and said, Master, I never thought that you would be able to cut off Dragon Emperor's hand. You really hide your strength well. If Long Shui had not told him this, he would not have known that Huang Jintian would actually take this opportunity to slice Dragon Emperor's dragon claw away. If you didn't have some ability, how would you be the master of a brat like you? With the things you stirred up, if it was anyone else, they would have already been worried to death. Huang Jintian laughed. He was very happy to be able to obtain a Dragon Emperor's arm. But, if it wasn't for me using the Chaos Fire token, you wouldn't have had the chance to cut off Dragon Emperor's arm, so you scored a bit for me. Chun Xiang said. You won't be able to run without me. Huang Jintian said. So we are even. I won't even give you a single hair, if you want to do it yourself. It's a pity that the Bird Emperor of the Imperial Avian race is not around. Otherwise, I would have been able to get his wings too. Seeing Chun Xiang's look of contempt, Huang Jintian said, What other powerful things are on your body, and what is that hammer, and where is that dragon? Chun Xiang took out the hammer and said, This is the hammer of God, it's the same as the divine furnace. That's why I don't hesitate to obtain the divine cauldron. Huang Jintian received it and realized that the divine hammer was heavy. Good stuff, as expected of a divine hammer. I never thought that you would be able to kill off the ice floor. Ice Emperor's body, that's a good thing, although it can't be eaten. There's nothing left. That corpse was completely melted. I used a lot of magical corruption gases. Chun Xiang also felt that it was a pity. You prodigal brat. Huang Jintian felt that it was extremely unfortunate. After returning the God delay hammer to Chun Xiang, he did not pursue the matter of Long Shui further. When Huang Jintian cut off Dragon Emperor's arm, he did not give Chun Xiang even a little bit of it because Chun Xiang had also obtained a dragon pearl. When Huang Jintian cut off Dragon Emperor's arm, he did not give Chun Xiang even a little bit of it because Chun Xiang had also obtained a dragon pearl. What plans do you have for the future? Do you have a way to get rich? Huang Jintian asked with a smile. Even if there was, Chun Xiang probably wouldn't tell this stingy master now. No, my next plan is to train hard for a while and wait for the sound of the wind to pass. Chun Xiang said this was indeed his next plan. It was only the first half of the plan. Now that you are safe, we will split up here, but you still have to be careful. Although you have the ability, those Imperial Dragon Clan are not weak. In the future when you meet them, you should avoid them as much as possible. Huang Jintian said. Got it. Then I'll be going. Take care. After Huang Jintian finished speaking, he immediately disappeared, probably using the earth escape technique to leave this place. After Huang Jintian left, Chen Xiang continued to stay in the mountain forest. This place was no longer the Myriad Dan Immortal Country's immortal palace, and it was also very far away from the Myriad Dan Immortal Country. With Long Xue's help, he was able to hide his powers well. Previously, he had managed to hide it from many powerful experts, but later on his pill refining skills were exposed. No lid too bad. Chen Xiang was holding on to the divine cauldron, so he didn't need to drip any blood to immediately use it, but he wasn't able to unleash the entire power of the divine cauldron in that moment, because he needed to refine it. He needed to infuse his own G-O-D power and innate Qi and connect the divine cauldron to the user in order to be able to freely control it. Looks like you have to make a trip to the sacred beast's ancient realm, Long Xue said. Chen Xiang still did not want to go because he was very weak. Not long ago, he was surrounded by so many experts and he felt a sense of powerlessness. If not for the Chaos Fire token, he would not have been able to escape so easily. It was possible that the sacred beast's ancient realm was hiding the beast slain method, so the map that the Dan Emperor left behind also pointed at that location. The divine stainless cauldron in Chen Xiang's hands was created by a divine craftsman, but Dan Emperor took a very long time to forge it, so that was why the picture that Dan Emperor left behind was written on it. I can't go now. That place is too dangerous, Chen Xiang said helplessly. After coming to the heaven realm, he had experienced how terrifying the experts were there, so he no longer underestimated the sacred beast's ancient realm, because that place was where the white tiger dragon was born. It was the cradle of the most powerful holy beast of the primordial era. It was extremely difficult to find Chen Xiang here. If it was anyone else, it might have been easier because they could use the sky dogs or some other tracking treasures, but these things were now completely useless to Chen Xiang. Chen Xiang, who was hiding deep in the mountains, was currently very safe. In this kind of deep mountain, there weren't many beast-type medicinal herbs, and normally no one would come in with nothing to do, so he was very relieved to stay here. Is he going to refine a sacred animal Dan? Long Xue asked excitedly. If you want to refine it, I will give you the Holy Dragon Dan Immortal's Dragon Pearl that I obtained. When you refine the Holy Dragon Pill, you will need to extract some Holy Dragon Essence from the Dragon Pearl to refine it, so the effects should be much better. We'll talk after I refine the Origin Restoring Pills. Once I learn how to refine the Origin Restoring Pills, I'll think of a way to sell the large batch of ground-level pills in my hands, trade for a few more spiritual crystal, and then buy the sacred animal Dan's medicinal ingredient. If I use the creation divine liquid to duplicate them, that'll be too much of a waste of time, Chen Xiang said. In the heaven realm, the ingredients for low-grade heaven level S were not so scarce. Only with spiritual crystal, he could buy them, so he felt that if he were to use the creation divine liquid on those high-grade pills, it would have a higher value. Then hurry up, I haven't even eaten sacred animal Dan. The old granny from the Long family refined a high-grade heaven-level sacred animal Dan. I feel that if you want to sell those ground-level pills, the best would be to find your elder sister Long Xue was still concerned about the sacred animal Dan that Long Peirong had refined with the quality of 97. Chen Xiang had indeed promised Long Huishan that after the compet 1. Tian ends, he would make a trip to the Long family. In the previous round, Chen Xiang gained a lot of experience. He believed that when he refined the Origin Returning Pill, he would definitely succeed. Previously, when he was refining the Origin Returning Pill, he had already failed a few times and never succeeded. He didn't have much medicinal materials for the restoration pills either. If he didn't succeed, he would have to go out and buy them. Previously, he failed because he was unable to successfully refine the Baiyuan fruit. The Baiyuan fruit was the only main ingredient of the Origin Returning Pill, which was why it was so difficult to deal with it. Chen Xiang placed the Baiyuan fruit on his palm, then activated the innate Qi, releasing the rainbow heaven flame. After going through the furnace of the peak quality, his control over the rainbow heaven flame increased by a lot. Although the consumption of the rainbow heaven flame was large, it could still be used to refine pills to increase his success rate. The Baiyuan fruit was quickly incinerated into a blood-red color by the multicolored heavenly fire. It was previously white, but now it had turned red and evil, and it also emitted a red glow that slowly flickered, making it look like a slowly beating heart. At this time, the Baiyuan fruit was very stable. Unlike before, it could always explode easily. Long Shui secretly prayed for Chen Xiang to succeed inside the ring, so that she would be able to eat the sacred animal Dan soon. Done. Chen Xiang revealed a slight smile and let out a light breath. Even though the Baiyuan fruit in his hand was burnt red, it suddenly turned into a CLU's of snow-white light when it disintegrated. He hastily put the ball of light into the 7-star treasure furnace, and those supplementary herbs had already been refined long ago. As long as he started fusing them, he would be able to enter the core formation stage. The process of condensing the pellet was very smooth. Although there were only 3, the number of pills produced was enough to make many Dan Immortal feel ashamed, because the origin-restoring pellet was a high-level healing pellet, and the main ingredients had only 1 Baiyuan fruit. The more powerful Dan Immortal could only refine 2 pellets, and most alchemists could only refine 1 pellet. But Chen Xiang, who managed to refine 3 pills for the first time, could only do so because of the God purification and his solid foundation. Hurry up and refine the sacred animal Dan. I really want to eat it, especially with the royal bird meat. I'm sure it will be fun. Long Shui said pitifully. I suddenly don't want to practice it anymore. I want to take a break. Chen Xiang laughed. You. I hate you. Long Shui said angrily when he heard Chen Xiang. I will go to the Long family. I will go there and ask Sister Long for it. It will be much faster than my current refining process. Chen Xiang added. Yeah. Long Shui immediately said happily, then why aren't you doing it? C-1357. C-1357, the Long family was in the Pellet region, which was very far from the myriad Dan Immortal country. However, there was the transmission array that one could go to. As long as Chen Xiang went to one of the Immortal palaces, he would be able to easily go to the Pellet region. He came to a small Immortal palace nearby. Although the Immortal palace was very far from the myriad Dan Immortal country's Immortal palace, it was still managed by the myriad Dan Immortal country. Chen Xiang spent more than 10 days, relying on that guided Immortal plate to get here. The moment he entered this Immortal palace, he immediately asked for information about him. It was just as he had guessed. He was offered a bounty, and it was not for spiritual crystal S, but for Tier 5 Immortal pills. This was enough for many Immortal Monarch S and Immortal Kings to take action. The bounty came from Devil Suppressing Divine Palace S, Fire Divine Palace S, Divine Saber Immortal Palace S, Imperial Dragon Clan S and Myriad Dan Immortal Country S. All of these bounties were extremely bountiful, making one's heart palpitate with excitement. How can a Tier 5 Immortal pill be so easily obtained? Catching me would be even more difficult than gathering all the ingredients for a Tier 5 Immortal pill. Chen Xiang thought to himself as he walked in the direction of the transmission array. Just as he saw the plaza where many transmission arrays were arranged, a transmission array suddenly flashed and a woman appeared. She immediately rushed towards him. It's the little maid. Chen Xiang was shocked. The lady with the graceful figure and beautiful white dress was none other than Ji Meixian. Chen Xiang immediately thought that he could deceive the Dragon Emperor and frame him as the culprit, with Ji Meixian's help. Otherwise, he wouldn't have succeeded. Now that the truth had been revealed, the Dragon Emperor knew that he was the one who killed the Prince Imperial Dragon. This Ji Meixian would naturally be suspected, and was believed to be related to him. Sure enough, the transmission array lit up once again, and a group of people appeared. From far away, Chen Xiang could feel that group of people had the White Sea innate qi that gave off a vast sensation. Hearing the barking, he knew that Ji Meixian was being chased by the Tengu. Furthermore, she was the niece of the ruthless devil Venerable, and had even grown up in the imperial feather race. After entering the heaven realm, her strength had increased very quickly, and she had already become an immortal monarch. Even if it was the immortal monarch's strength, she was chased until the streets ran. It could be seen that the people chasing her were even stronger. "Little maid, come to my place." Chen Xiang, who was Das Hi plussing over, sent a sound transmission to him before he quickly turned a corner. Seeing Chen Xiang here, Ji Meixian's heart was overjoyed. She directly went to Chen Xiang, and when she approached Chen Xiang placed her in the dark jade ring. Chen Xiang then squeezed into the crowd on the side of the street, looking at the people who were Hi plussing over with the dogs. "Little maid, White Sea Imperial Land found you?" Chen Xiang asked. He had originally planned to let Ji Meixian lurk inside the White Sea Imperial Land. "Yes, Dragon Emperor and Immortal Country, by Hai's relations. Hi+P is very good. Not long after you ran away on the Compet 1. Tian grounds, I sensed danger and immediately fled, only to be chased all the way here by 3 immortal kings. Luckily you appeared here, otherwise I would not know when you would have escaped." Ji Meixian was with Bai Yuyu inside the ring, and she was panting. She had used up a lot of energy and was very tired. Su Meiyao gave some pills to her to eat, making her feel much better. "Where's Yixuan? Has she been discovered?" Chen Xiang asked. "She originally wanted to leave with me, but I told her to stay in Immortal Country by Hai. Maybe it might be useful to us in the future," Ji Meixian said. Chen Xiang was a leader of the Dragon Subduing School, and there would be a day when he would come into conflict with the Bai Hai Heavenly Kingdom. Zhao Yiprofound was highly regarded inside, so if nothing unexpected happened, he might be able to have a very high position in the future. "I'm really sorry, I almost caused you harm," said guiltily. At this time, he walked into the transmission array, handed over 1,000,000 spiritual crystal, and teleported to the Saint Pellet realm. Ji Meixian was Chen Xiang's female slave. Although there were many conflicts between them before, after she became Chen Xiang's female slave, she found out that Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu were behind his back, and she had a very good impression of Chen Xiang. Moreover, Chen Xiang treated her quite well, and gave her quite a few pills to help her become an immortal even faster. Of course, what she valued the most was Chen Xiang's potential. She hated the Imperial Feather Race extremely, and now that Chen Xiang already dared to challenge her alone, he would definitely dare to go against her in the future. She wholeheartedly wanted to eliminate him. "Why are you telling this to me? From the time I told you, I've been preparing to take risks," Ji Meixian said. "What plans do you have for the future? Why don't you stay here with us?" Su Meiyao said. She also wanted a companion. "Right now, you are only Immortal Country by Hai. Perhaps in the future, even Imperial Dragon Clan will chase after you," Bai Yuyu said. Ji Meixian glanced at Bai Yuyu and Su Meiyao, then sighed. "If you two request for me to be here, I naturally would not object. Although it was safe in here, it was not good for her to grow. She wanted to recover the strength that she had back then. Go to the Long family. You should be fine there." And her both had a special relations. Hi+P with Ji Meixian. Back then, Ji Meixian had always been chasing after and killing them, but for their own good, so that they wouldn't be chased by their enemies. And Ji Meixian was even their master's niece. "Just stay away from the final range of Tengu," Ji Meixian said. She used to be a lone wolf as well, and now that she was separated from Immortal Country of Bai Hai, she no longer wished to be part of a faction. Even though Chen Xiang was her master, she knew that Chen Xiang would not restrict her freedom. "Here is the meat of the small gold eagle. Do you want to eat it?" Long Shui skipped to Ji Meixian's side and said sweetly. The son of the Golden Rock King was actually killed by the leader. Ji Meixian was extremely surprised. During the Great Battle, the death of one of the Golden Rock King's sons had caused a huge sensation. What's wrong with that? Why don't you see who that brat is? Long Shui laughed. You are Bai Long, right? No wonder the Imperial Dragon clan is in a mess right now. Ji Meixian looked at Long Shui with a serious expression. Although Long Shui had a sweet appearance and a devilish figure, she gave off an extremely dangerous feeling. Of course, when my heavenly dragon Supreme Lord goes out, he would be scared to death. Long Shui laughed. She seemed to have known that this would happen. Ji Meixian didn't say much about the white dragon. She knew that the beautiful white dragon lady in front of her carried the eternal hatred of the white dragon clan, and was very similar to her. Chen Xiang arrived at the Long family's immortal palace in the Pellet region. This immortal palace was recently built by the Long family and was incomplete in many places. The walls were very low too, but to be able to construct it in such a short period of time was already quite impressive. Although the sacred Dan realm had fused with the Heaven realm, there were no changes to the terrain. Back then, he had also stayed at the Long family for a period of time, so he was relatively familiar with the place. Although the sacred Dan realm had fused with the Heaven realm, there were no changes to the terrain. Back then, he had also stayed at the Long family for a period of time, so he was relatively familiar with the place. However, there was still a big change here. For example, the Long family's headquarters was located right in the middle of the Immortal Palace. There was also a tall wall, making it difficult to enter. Chen Xiang took out the jade tablet that Long Huishan had given him back then. He arrived at the central area, and at the entrance under the tall and big wall, he took out the jade tablet and handed it over to the immortal monarch guarding the gate. Do you need to lead the way? After the immortal monarch saw this, he immediately felt deep veneration for Chen Xiang. Although he did not know who this person was, those with this jade token had the best relations. Hi+P with the female dragon king of the Long family. Just take me to your patriarch, Chen Xiang said. He kept the jade medallion, and then the immortal monarch called for a young lady, and brought him to the large building. The Long family in the center area was like a large city with many buildings. It could be seen that the Long family was developing very well. Chen Xiang was brought into a luxurious living room. The young lady told him to wait here. She had already sent someone to inform Long Huishan. When Long Huishan found out that someone was holding on to that type of jade tablet, she knew that Chen Xiang had come. She thought that it would take Chen Xiang some time to arrive. She didn't expect it to happen so soon. She immediately rushed to the guest hall, and upon seeing Chen Xiang, she really wanted to punch him twice, but she endured it. Without saying much more, she brought Chen Xiang directly into an even tighter manner. Just as he entered, Long Huishan punched Chen Xiang in the chest. Little B-A-S-T-A-R-D, you really dare to play. Chen Xiang changed back to his own appearance and laughed. Big sister Long, long time no see, you look even more beautiful than before, and you even have the aura of a female dragon king. Cut the C.R.A.P. Long Huishan grabbed Chen Xiang and brought him into the great hall. Then, he pushed onto a chair with all his strength and sat down as well. Long Huishan wore a golden armor with a long braid hanging down to her chest. One could see the stiff armor that was glowing with a golden light on it. Long Huishan had indeed changed a lot. When Chen Xiang had first met her, he had felt that she was a strong woman, but now she was an overbearing queen, not as young and gentle as she was in the past. Of course, all of this was forced out of her environment. Seeing Chen Xiang's mischievous eyes sweeping over her, Long Huishan glared at him. What are you looking at? Back then, Chen Xiang and Hua Xiangyue had stayed at Long Huishan's place for a period of time. At that time, Hua Xiangyue's clothes were extremely seductive throughout the day, and she often dual cultivated with Chen Xiang at night. How would I dare? Sister Long's figure is so good, Her face is so beautiful, and whatever clothes she wears are very beautiful. Of course, not wearing them would be even more beautiful. Chen Xiang laughed. He deserves a beating. Long Huishan bellowed. He had already arrived in front of Chen Xiang and fiercely knocked on his head. Long Huishan was indeed becoming stronger and stronger. Back then, when she obtained the inheritance of the Ice Dragon, she had only just become an immortal king, but now she was much stronger than before. As Long Huishan sat on the chair beside Chen Xiang, he watched as Chen Xiang rubbed the sore spot on her head. He couldn't help but think of what happened back then when Chen Xiang and her had entered the dragon cave, how weak she was at that time, and all the difficulties she had encountered along the way. Chen Xiang had helped her resolve them, allowing her to ultimately enter the depths of the dragon cave to obtain the inheritance of the Ice Dragon. When she thought about this, her heart couldn't help but feel warm. The way she looked at Chen Xiang became very gentle, so when Chen Xiang came to the heaven realm and didn't look for her, she became very angry. This made her feel that Chen Xiang thought that she wasn't strong enough. She still didn't know how to repay Chen Xiang's kindness. When Chen Xiang was surrounded by the Dragon Emperor and the other rankers, she had already made preparations to fight to her death. Foolish brat, can't you provoke some weaker forces? Can it be easier for me to help you? Long Huishan said bitterly as he reached out to rub Chen Xiang's head. Even though you called me elder sister, I didn't do my duty. Long Huishan sighed. No need to blame yourself. I came here to trouble you. You won't chase me away, right? Chen Xiang laughed as he grabbed the long braid that hung on Long Huishan's chest and played around with it. I knew that you would only look for me if you had something to say. Long Huishan pulled back her braid and snorted. At the moment, she did look somewhat like a woman. That's right, how is little Ling right now? Chen Xiang asked. He's still sleeping. This little girl still doesn't know that her big brother Yin is being offered a bounty and doesn't dare to show his face. Long Huishan leaned on the chair, crossed his legs, and lightly sipped on his tea, asking, What are you looking for me for? Is there another sister from Stronghold? Chen Xiang had originally planned to leave Ji Meixian here, but since Ji Meixian was unwilling, she decided to go out and adventure by herself. Elder sister Long, have you seen Yulan? Chen Xiang was now more worried about Ling Yulan, because her white hair was a symbol of the white dragon's blood. Although Long Shui had never told him about the hatred between Bai Long and Imperial Dragon Clan, he could feel the strong desire for revenge inside the white dragon's bones. After Ling Yulan awakened his white dragon vein, there was a huge change, although he still loved his older brother a lot. I met her the last time I went to Human King, Immortal Country. I had a private chat with her before, she got along really well with me, and I even fought with her before. She was the one who pestered me to spar with her. Otherwise, she wouldn't be able to bear this elder sister of mine. Long Huishan said. Ling Yulan was very similar to the current Long Huishan. They were both violent women and there was dragon blood in their bodies. That's why she has white hair. If possible, I hope you can take her and let her stay here for a period of time. Once she has some power, I think it would be better for her to stay with you, Chen Xiang said in a low voice. Hearing this, Ji Meixian, who was inside the quiet dragon ring, was also very surprised, and looked towards Long Shui. Long Shui had also told Chen Xiang before that it would be better for Ling Yulan to follow him because the Long family was a group of dragon people. Long Huishan knew that there was a white dragon by Chen Xiang's side, and because of the appearance of the white dragon, the Imperial Dragon Clan was extremely nervous. There was still a more important matter that Chen Xiang came to find Long Huishan for, and Long Huishan could guess it as well. There was still a more important matter that Chen Xiang came to find Long Huishan for, and Long Huishan could guess it as well. I got a lot of pills in the compet. 1. Tie-in, so I don't need any of them. Chen Xiang laughed and said, I want to let go of your hand. I don't need any spiritual crystal, I just want a few of them. I knew that you wouldn't be able to sell that batch of ground-level pills. How about this? I'll give you 10 million spiritual crystal and give you a few more. I don't have much sacred animal fruit for now, but a batch of them will ripen after a while. Long Huishan said. Although there were a lot of pills that Chun Xiang refined during the compet. 1. Tian, they were all high-grade ground-level pills, and each pill was only worth 200 spiritual crystal. Even though he managed to refine more than 30,000 pills, he only had around 60 to 70 million, so the price that Long Huishan offered was considered very high. Isn't that too much? Chun Xiang said in embarrassment. There's no need for you to be so polite. The pills you concoct are of the highest quality, and my Long family will not lose out if we sell them. I heard that you're a black-hearted fellow, so you should beat me up right now. Long Huishan laughed. I don't dare. Chun Xiang blushed. If he was selling someone else, he would definitely beat them up. However, Long Huishan had a good relations, Hi+P with him, and he would have to trouble her to take care of Ling Yulan and Shen Lingling. Chun Xiang gave the pills to Long Huishan, and upon seeing them, Long Huishan could not help but exclaim, Little fellow, you actually managed to refine so many of them in just 2 to 3 days. If you come next time, I'll have to prepare some more medicinal ingredients for you to refine. Definitely not. Who told you to be my sister? Chun Xiang grinned. Good brother. Long Huishan smiled daintily, then kissed Chun Xiang's cheek. I'll go get you the sacred animal fruit, wait for me here. When Long Huishan left, he touched the cheek that had been kissed by her and chuckled, It's better to kiss on the mouth. You should have let her bring a few sacred animal dan over. I've grown up, but I've never eaten a few sacred animal dan before. Long Shui shouted anxiously. What's the rush? Give me some time, I'll let you eat until you puke, said. Now that he knew that Long Shui was not weak, he would definitely help Long Shui increase his strength in the future. Not long after Long Huishan left, an old lady slowly walked in. She was precisely the Long Peirong who always lagged behind Chun Xiang during compet. 1 Tians. In these 3 matches, Chun Xiang had always been in first place, while Long Peirong had always been in second place. It would be fine if there was a slight gap between their results, but who knew that Chun Xiang would always leave her behind, which made it difficult for her to compare second and first. Long Peirong originally came to look for Long Huishan, but the moment she entered, she saw a young man who was young and handsome. Of course she knew who this strange man was, because Chun Xiang's bounty portraits were all over the streets. It would be weird if she did not know. Chun Xiang was precisely this kind of young brat that defeated her. Whenever Long Huishan thought of this, he always felt that his age was no different from a dog's. When Chun Xiang saw Long Peirong, he immediately stood up and said respectfully, Kid Chun Xiang greet Senior. Long Peirong knew that Chun Xiang was Long Huishan's foster brother. Although she had lost to Chun Xiang 3 times, Chun Xiang's respectful bow to her made her secretly praise him in her heart. However, she was still a little unhappy in her heart. Long Peirong walked into the hall and sighed. This is my old body, you've won 3 times in a row and you're always ahead of me by a lot. Don't be polite with me, as your teacher, I should pay respects to you. Chun Xiang only smiled, and then, he sat down together with Long Peirong. The bounty for Chun Xiang was flying everywhere as groups of people searched for him, wanting to get that precious bounty. However, Chun Xiang was sitting there leisurely, drinking his tea. The age difference between Chun Xiang and Long Peirong was huge, but they were both alchemists, so when it came to refining pills, they were chatting excitedly. Chun Xiang had a unique and innovative perspective on pill refining. After hearing about it, Long Peirong felt that she had benefited greatly, but she had the rich experience of refining a high-level pellet, which was something that even Su Meiyao did not have. Long Huishan took more than 2 hours to return, but seeing that Chun Xiang and Long Pei were chatting so much, she was very happy. You're not in a hurry. Why don't you stay here for a few more days and treat this place as your own home? Long Huishan threw a storage bag to Chen Xiang. No, I'm worried that the Dragon Emperor will suddenly find us here. It's not good for you. Chen Xiang said. What are you afraid of? He's here, we can just beat him up and run. Although we only have dragon blood, we are not afraid of the Imperial Dragon Clan. Long Huishan said. Her father was of very mysterious rancor. Chen Xiang also guessed that the Long family was hiding a strong power. That day he was surrounded by many strong warriors, and that Long Huishan and an old man dared to come. In full fury, it looked like they wanted to fight, but then Huang Jintian brought him running away quickly, so the conflict did not happen. If Chen Xiang wanted to leave, no one could stay. Long Huishan was a little angry and scolded a bit, before letting him leave. Relying on the superpowers of Imperial Dragon Clan, Fire Divine Palace and Devil Suppressing Divine Palace, they would definitely be able to investigate the relations Hi+P between him and the Long family. And right now, Long Huishan also had a batch of high-grade ground-level pills that he had refined. Before long, it would be discovered by Chen Xiang's enemies, which was why he chose to leave. This would allow the Long family to avoid unnecessary trouble. Chen Xiang teleported away through the transmission array in the Immortal Palace, leaving behind a faraway place from the Heaven Realm's Immortal Palace. The immortal qi in this place was not rich, there were not many beasts, and there were very few strange flowers and herbs. 20 sacred animal fruit, she's so generous. Chen Xiang originally thought that it would only be around 10 or so, and that one would sell for 2 million spiritual crystal, so these 20 would be equivalent to 40 million spiritual crystal. What a good big sister. I also want her to be my big sister. Long Shui said while holding back his saliva. This little gluttonous dragon had milk, and Chen Xiang despised her actions right now. Inside the storage bag, there was also a jade tablet. On it were some special techniques engraved with 10 million spiritual crystal. As long as they went to the Spiritual Crystal Immortal Palace, they could use this jade tablet to exchange. This kind of jade tablet was very hard to copy. Moreover, if discovered, they would end up using the same super old poison. This 40-50 million spiritual crystal was simply nothing to Long Huishan. She was a female dragon king of the Long family, and after the sacred Dan realm had been merged with them, she had allowed the Long family to develop and become even more powerful. He already had the sacred animal fruit, and next, he would need to refine a sacred animal Dan for Long Shui. Previously, Chen Xiang would have one, but if it failed, he wouldn't be able to refine even a single one, and even if it succeeded, with Long Shui's appet.I.te, it would be hard to satisfy her. He already had the sacred animal fruit, and next, he would need to refine a sacred animal Dan for Long Shui. Previously, Chen Xiang would have one, but if it failed, he wouldn't be able to refine even a single one, and even if it succeeded, with Long Shui's appet. 1. It would be hard to satisfy her. If Chen Xiang wanted to survive in the sacred beast's ancient realm, not only did he have to increase his own strength, he also had to make Long Shui stronger. When Ji Meixian came out of the netherworld Adumbra flower, he found that the nearest immortal palace also needed to run continuously for 10 days and 10 nights, so it could be considered to be relatively safe. She looked at the towering green mountains all around her, took in a deep breath of fresh air, and stayed inside the ring for a long time. She would miss the outside world very much, and now, she could understand Su Meiyao's and Bai Yuyu's helplessness. You have a very strong spiritual sense, and that's your talent. Do as I say, and it won't be long before you get rid of the heavenly dog. Long Shui said. Ji Meixian was Chen Xiang's female slave, so she taught many techniques of the Imperial Dragon Clan inside the ring. I know. You don't have to worry too much about me. My divine protective clothes are very powerful, so even if I meet a strong person like the Dragon Emperor, I won't die. Ji Meixian said. Chen Xiang and Ji Meixian had decided to keep it a secret record so that they could contact each other in the future. Take care. Chen Xiang stroked the messy hair on Ji Meixian's forehead and said with a smile, "You have to take care of yourself as well. You are even more dangerous than me." Ji Meixian smiled at him. Ji Meixian's body floated into the air and flew away from the mountain. However, Chen Xiang found a relatively quiet mountain corner and started to carve a cave there. Within the 5 beast statue inside Chen Xiang's dantian, each of them originally had 9 heaven pellet. But after going through the 9 nirvana tribulations, they all combined into 1 pellet. The heavenly core in his dantian was no longer circular, but was the same as the beast elder, with a faint outline. He felt that if he continued to cultivate, he would be able to take on the exact same shape as the 5 beast statue, and might even slowly grow bigger. Of course, he had to refine sacred animal Dan-s first and fill Long Xue's stomach. Although he had eaten royal bird meat before, but that was only to try it, and not to let Long Xue become stronger. Indeed, it had been a long time since Long Xue had a good meal, if not she would not yell all day. The sacred animal fruit was a type of fruit that could continuously evolve itself, and the highest would become the holy level. That was why it was called the sacred animal fruit, but it would take a long time, even if Chen Xiang used the creation divine liquid to accelerate its growth, it would probably take a lot of time. As for the sacred animal fruit that Long Huishan gave Chen Xiang, they were all low-grade heaven level S, which was a lot lower than his current strength. But if he gave it to him in large quantities, it would still have a good effect. The difficulty of refining sacred animal Dan was not high, it was much easier than origin restoring pellet. There was only one type of main ingredient, which was why Long Peirong chose to refine this pellet, and at the same time, refine peak quality. Right now, Chen Xiang still did not plan to refine the peak quality. He needed too much time and effort. If one day, he did not need to spend all his energy and effort, he could casually refine a peak quality pill with his own will. Chen Xiang only failed once and successfully refined a sacred animal Dan. With 3 pills in each furnace, the quality was all top-notch. The moment he saw Chen Xiang opening the pill furnace, Long Xue immediately ran out from the ring. The sacred animal Dan was bigger, like a lychee. Long Xue put one in his mouth, but did not immediately bite off it, causing her fragrant cheeks to bulge, making her look very cute. "Quickly eat it and see what its effects are." Chen Xiang pinched the other cheek of her. "It's very sweet. I want to take a sip," Long Xue said with puffed up half his face, while holding on to the other 2 pills, as if he was afraid that they would be snatc head away. Chen Xiang shook his head and smiled. He rubbed her face for a bit, then continued to refine sacred animal Dan-s. He wanted to refine all of the pills that Long Huishan had given him into pills. Right now, Long Xue was eating sacred animal Dan-s like candy. Using creation divine liquid S to replicate low-grade heaven level required a lot of effort. If he needed to copy a lot of them, Chen Xiang would have to go into closed-door cultivation for a long time. If it was just sacred animal fruit S, it would not be as fast as Long Xue's speed of eating. Previously, he needed a few days to refine the sacred animal Dan, but after successfully refining a batch, his speed would slowly increase. Chen Xiang was concocting pills in the cave, while Long Xue was sitting at the side watching. He was still holding the sacred animal Dan in his mouth, playing with it with his tongue like it was candy, as if he was eating it happily. This was the first time Chen Xiang saw it look like he was eating a pill, but he also saw the sacred animal Dan slowly shrinking in size in her mouth. Finally gone. Long Xue sucked her tongue and licked her lips, as if she was a child eating candy for the first time. Then, she put another sacred animal Dan into her mouth. Chen Xiang calculated the time. She had just eaten a sacred animal Dan, using 2 hours of time. This was a good thing. If she ate like how she ate before, she could eat several vats in 1 hour. Now, Chen Xiang knew that beautiful dragon pets were not easy to raise. Long Xue knew that there were not many people who could afford to keep her, which was why she insisted on keeping her promise with Chen Xiang. Chen Xiang spent 10 days' worth of time and finally refined all of those sacred animal fruit into sacred animal danas, while she ate very slowly, so she could only eat 1 pellet per day. She did not know how she ate it, and she could only hold it in her mouth for a good half a day. Chen Xiang took out the small gold eagle's orris core and the dragon pearl of the holy dragon Dan Immortal and the little emperor dragon that Huang Jintian had killed. These are all great supplements, but you can't just take on too much at once, take it step by step. Long Shui said. If he wanted to obtain a large amount of energy, Chen Xiang could only rely on these things now, and the cultivation technique he cultivated could completely refine all of these energy into his own. Chen Xiang had already stayed in the cave for 5 years. If he was in Dtian, 5 years would be considered very long for him, but in Heaven Realm, it was nothing. Furthermore, many of the things that happened in the tournament 5 years ago, no one had forgotten now, and his bounty orders were all over the place. Chen Xiang had absorbed the golden rock golden pellet and the 2 dragon pearls to raise his strength, giving him quite the harvest in the past 5 years. He had already stepped into the intermediate stage of the worldly immortal stage, and the 5 sky pellets among the 5 beast statue in his body gradually had a beast-like outline. The 5 beast statue in his dantian were just an illusion. He felt that the 5 heaven pills in the future would look exactly like the illusion, and that would be his true peak. Long Shui had long finished all the sacred animal danas, but she only complained a little. During the past 5 years, Chen Xiang had occasionally taken the time to get a pot or 2 for her to eat, so she was leveling up very quickly now. Long Shui had long finished all the sacred animal danas, but she only complained a little. During the past 5 years, Chen Xiang had occasionally taken the time to get a pot or 2 for her to eat, so she was leveling up very quickly now. I can't keep leveling up. I'll wait for a period of time before I use it again. Bai Yu warned Chen Xiang. Using the dragon pearl gold pellet to cultivate was equivalent to absorbing the energy of others. This would take a period of time to completely refine, and if this continued, it would have some effect on in the future. Go confirm the location of the sacred beast's ancient realm first. When you have enough strength in the future, you can go there immediately. Su Meiyao said. Chen Xiang had already thought of that before, now that he had entered the intermediate stage of the worldly immortal stage, although he could still withstand the pressure from the immortal monarch, but if he met with the late period of human immortal, he could still defeat them. Right now, he had to go to a place far away from the myriad Dan immortal country. Although he wouldn't be discovered even if he were to head there now, there was no longer any need to go there. In the heaven realm, although there were few immortal palaces with fleuries, HI+ing pills, there were still some that only existed in the myriad Dan immortal country. Let's go to a palace where there are a lot of immortal beasts in human form. We might be able to find out more about the sacred beast's ancient realm there. Su Meiyao said. The heaven realm was so big, and there were a lot of beasts that had transformed into human form. They were divided into 2 types of existence. One was to fight against humans, and the other was not to attack one another. They also learned from humans and built giant immortal palaces to form a large group, which could also protect the weak members of their group. Although the 10,000 Beast Hall was not like those immortal country with groups of immortal palaces, the strength of this immortal palace was considered one of the best in the heaven realm. This immortal palace was a little special as there were no transmission arrays inside. In order to enter this immortal palace, one had to first transfer to the nearby human immortal palaces before being able to pass through. Chen Xiang immediately came to the bottom of the 10,000 Beast Palace's main entrance. He did not go in because at this moment there was a very large snake slowly wiggling its way into the city. The 10,000 Beast Palace's gate was the biggest gate that Chen Xiang had ever seen, but that giant python took up more than half of the entrance. Chen Xiang estimated that this giant python was around 300 meters wide, similar to those huge dragon corpses that he had seen before. This guy is sick. It seems like he's going to turn into a flood dragon. He only turned into a flood dragon at such a young age. He might even turn into a dragon directly. Long Shui said. The 10,000 Beast Palace was a good place for these huge beasts to live, because if these huge beasts were outside, they would be hunted and killed by human experts, so they decided to enter the 10,000 Beast Palace instead of hunting these huge beasts. Otherwise they would be surrounded and attacked by a herd of beasts, and even the human immortal king would not dare to mess around inside. The giant python finally entered. It quickly crawled away from a very wide street and soon disappeared. The streets of the 10,000 Beast Immortal Palace were very large, and from time to time one could see huge beasts. Of course, most of them were in human form. It's so hard to find someone to talk to here. As Chen Xiang walked on the street, he couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat as he listened to Long Shui pointing out the true forms of those people. There are many beast immortals in this immortal palace, as well as many beast kings. Moreover, most of them are very harmonious, so it's not strange that they are quite powerful. Long Shui said. Chen Xiang paused, said by a wall and saw a bounty on the wall. It was placed on him, but not many immortal beasts paid attention to it. Most of the beasts here were beasts, and the pills consumed by humans weren't of much use to them, so their business here was rather poor. Don't look down on these fellows who cultivate from the beast race, to be honest. They all have some outstanding qualities to be able to survive in such a vile environment, so every single one of the immortal beast here give off a strong feeling. Their intelligence is not low, unless they are the little immortal beasts who have no cruel experiences. Bai Yu said. Chen Xiang could also see it. That's why he felt a wave of oppressive aura when he was walking on the street, and these beasts seemed to be able to discover that he was not their own kind, so they were hostile towards him. As long as he appeared, the surrounding immortal beasts would immediately become vigilant and mobilize all their energy. This was understandable, because most immortal beasts that could take human form had the experience of being hunted down by human experts and hated humans to their bones. Even though humans could enter this immortal palace. If only there were Sacred Animal Dan should have a market here. I wonder if these transformed immortal beasts are rich. Chen Xiang said. In the process of their growth, they have killed quite a few human experts and powerful beasts. Furthermore, they had spent their days in the deep mountains and in the deep forests, making a lot of treasures, but they did not know the value of a lot of them. Thus, there is a special place for them to value these treasures. Su Meiyao said. As long as he could afford to pay a price, he could buy the treasures that the immortal beast had collected for many years. However, he was more concerned about the higher-leveled herb. Chen Xiang walked aimlessly inside the house, sing through many wide streets, when suddenly he saw a huge stone house in front of him with a group of transforming immortal beasts surrounding them, talking about some things. He quickly walked over and saw that there was a piece of paper pasted on the entrance of the huge stone house. There were some people written on it. Chen Xiang looked at the piece of paper and read the contents on it in shock. He did not expect the contents on it to have something to do with his purpose for coming here. The humans have found some clues about our beast clan's sacred land. We hope to cooperate with them and search for this ancient sacred land that has been lost for many years, initiated by the Fire Divine Palace and the Myriad Dan Immortal Country. If you have any clues, you can provide them and get rich rewards. This was obviously referring to the sacred beast's ancient realm. Chen Xiang never thought that the sacred beast's ancient realm would be so mysterious. It had actually been in a lost state for many years, and no one noticed it. It was initiated by the Imperial Dragon clan. Perhaps the Imperial Avian race is also looking for them. In the Heaven realm, they are the ones with the most clues. The ancestors of these two powerful beasts came from the sacred beast's ancient realm. I wonder what their goal is. Could it be that they know that there are good things in the sacred beast's ancient realm? Long Shui said. The Fire Divine Palace and the myriad Dan Immortal Country both had a good relations. Hi+P with the Imperial Dragon Clan. It was normal for Long Shui to immediately suspect the Imperial Dragon Clan. Chen Xiang thought that it would be easy to find the sacred beast's ancient realm, but who would have thought that even the Fire Divine Palace and Devil-Suppressing Divine Palace, these ancient and powerful forces, would have to gather clues here and there. Chen Xiang thought that it would be easy to find the sacred beast's ancient realm, but who would have thought that even the Fire Divine Palace and Devil-Suppressing Divine Palace, these ancient and powerful forces, would have to gather clues here and there. They must have some clues about the sacred beast's ancient realm, but it's not complete. However, I believe that it won't be long before they can confirm the location of the sacred beast's ancient realm. Long Shui said. You don't even know where the sacred beast's ancient realm is? Chen Xiang asked. If I knew, I would have told you a long time ago that there are no related memories in my memories. It seems that even the powerful beasts that came out of their back then would not be able to pass on this memory. Could it be to protect the sacred beast's ancient realm? Long Shui said. That is your sacred ground. I wonder what happened in that place after the death of the 10 Heavens Supreme Lord. Chen Xiang guessed that this matter had a close relations. Hi+P with the 10 Heavens Supreme Lord. There is a Fire Emperor behind the Fire Divine Palace, and this Fire Emperor might only have a little clue as to where the sacred beast's ancient realm is. The current Dragon Emperor and those old dragons should also have some clues. That's why they are working together to explore the sacred beast's ancient realm. Long Shui said. That was all the beast's sacred grounds back then, and many people today would have thought that there was something extraordinary inside. If not, they wouldn't have raised such a large number of powerful holy beasts. Chen Xiang was a little worried. They probably don't have that map. Long Shui said. Actually, you have the most clues, because you have 2 maps. Chen Xiang had 2 identical maps. One was obtained from the treasure chest, and had the Dan Emperor's mark on it. The other was said down from Duan Chang's ancestors, and both were in his hands. Although I have the map, I don't know where it is located. Chen Xiang sighed. If he knew, he would have gone to the side instead. If that map is the entire picture of the sacred beast's ancient realm, then it would be too small. The sacred beast's ancient realm should be very big. Su Meiyao said. She and Bai Yuyu had repeatedly looked at that map many times. It's not small anymore. Sacred beast's ancient realm is very old, so the mountains and rivers inside are very huge. It looks like they're just shrinking now. I think they're at least the size of an immortal country. Long Shui said. But I don't know where the mountains and rivers depicted on the map are. The heaven realm is so big, how do you want me to check them? Chen Xiang felt extremely helpless. Maybe the place isn't in heaven realm at all. If there really is a treasure hidden within, without a map mark, it would be very difficult for them to find it in such a big place. If you know where the sacred beast's ancient realm is, then you will be able to reach the treasure location the fastest through the safe route on the map. Su Yun said in a calm tone. Long Shui said. It was not a bad idea. The 2 maps in his hands were both marked with a safe route, which meant that it would be very safe to travel to those areas. Furthermore, he would be able to clearly mark out the locations of the most dangerous places. At this time, the 10,000 Beast Hall was in an uproar. The sacred beast's ancient realm were like sacred grounds to the immortal beast. Everyone wanted to go there. Many years ago, it was the world of beasts. The dragon race and the 4 sacred beasts were all incredibly powerful existences, and the 10 Heavens Supreme Lord that governed the 9 heavens were also from the sacred beast's ancient realm. However, Chen Xiang felt that even if the sacred beast's ancient realm appeared again, the beasts wouldn't be able to return to their powerful positions. This was because the humans had grown even more powerful over the years, and there were many perfect cultivation techniques. alchemy techniques and formations that beasts could not even compare to with using brute force. Over the years, humans had seen many existences comparable to Saint Beasts. At the very most, it would be a battle between humans and beasts in the future. Chen Xiang bought some materials here, rented a secret room and forged a basin-sized piece, then carved that map on the metal board. This kind of thing was extremely simple to him. He could carve it lifelike, and it wouldn't take too much time. The original map was very large, similar to a large round table. However, it was now carved into a face-sized piece of metal and shrunk in size. He took out a stack of paper and used the iron seal to take the ink, then he printed a map on the paper. Although it was very rough, one could still clearly see the mountains and rivers on it. Chen Xiang busied himself for a whole day, printing several hundred pieces, and then spread them all over the place, saying that this was the sacred beast's ancient realm, regardless of whether he believed it or not. In just a few days, the mysterious maps that were posted all over the 10,000 Beast Palace were more than the pictures that were on the bounty for Chen Xiang. The matter of finding the sacred beast's ancient realm was spread all over Heaven Realm, and now that the sacred beast's ancient realm's map had appeared, many people did not believe it. However, many people could not tell where the area described on the map was, because the shape and distance of the mountains, as well as the 10 or so large rivers that appeared at the same time, were things that many people had never seen before. There were more than 10 large rivers and mountains on the map, and there were also many large lakes. Although the map was small, it would be very vast and shocking if one really went there. Chen Xiang had originally only printed over 1,000 of them, but after he sent them out, he changed his appearance. Now that he was hiding in the 10,000 Beast Palace, he discovered something strange. There were actually more and more maps that needed to be purchased. F***CK. This definitely wasn't made according to my photo. This one should be much clearer. Chen Xiang spent 100 spiritual crystal to buy one. I am the one who made this map famous, but later on, there was someone who borrowed the wind from this guy to earn the spiritual crystal. This person must have a map as well. A river is missing from your imprint, but he is showing up here. Long Shui said. Chen Xiang was not very serious when he carved that seal, and he felt that it was fine to have one less river. Maybe they're correcting you. Su Meiyao laughed. What if his map is marked with a hidden treasure, and that guy is even stronger than me? At that time, won't I lose out? Chen Xiang felt that this was not a good thing. He had to find the person who sold the map. After that, Chen Xiang would stroll around the streets every day, and at the same time, investigate the source of the map. Originally, this map was created by him. He had planned to sell it after he became famous, but who would have known that there would be someone ahead of him? With Long Shui using the Heaven Tour, they split up the Divine Soul to search for him, and very quickly gained a slim figure. The person selling the map lived in a very run-down area, and the houses there were all very cheap. Could this guy be Duan Chong? Just as Chen Xiang arrived, he saw an old man opening the door and walking out. Duan Chong had long since said the soaring stage, so it was very difficult for him to think of Heaven Realm, but now that he was here, he did not change his appearance, it was just that he looked a little down. Duan Chong had long since said the soaring stage, so it was very difficult for him to think of Heaven Realm, but now that he was here, he did not change his appearance, it was just that he looked a little down. Deep into the night, Duan Chong was holding on to a big stack of map. At this time, a few youths came over and took out spiritual crystal to buy the map in his hands. After selling it, Duan Chong immediately returned to his room, but quickly crawled out from the other window, shuttled through the alleyway of the dilapidated house, and came to another house. This was all seen clearly by the divine soul that Chen Xiang was floating in the air above him. After seeing Duan Chong's actions, he was even more certain that this person was Duan Chong, but why was he here? Chen Xiang hid his presence and quietly arrived at the door of the room Duan Chong was in, and lightly knocked. Elder Duan, quick, it's me. Duan Chong, who was still inside, was suddenly shocked, but after thinking about it for a moment, he quickly understood that it was normal for Chen Xiang to discover him. After Duan Chong opened the door, he dragged Chen Xiang inside. That map was indeed released by you. Duan Chong laughed. It's just that you missed a river, I'll help you make it up. Old Duan, why are you here? Aren't you in D Tian? Chen Xiang asked. Leader, in the current D Tian, our dragon subduing school is very strong and stable. I felt that it was too boring over there, and then I came up. I spent a lot of effort to open up a path up there, and I almost died. Duan Chong said with fear still lingering in his heart. When did you come? 2 years ago. I didn't expect that you would be so popular in Heaven Realm. Duan Chong laughed. Duan Chong was a mortal monarch, and he had a strong concealment ability, so he would secretly spread out his map, making it difficult for others to find him. I've looked for a lot of ancient books, but none of them can pinpoint the location of this sacred beast's ancient realm. However, I'm sure that the Imperial Dragon Clan knows about it, as well as some of the other Tong Tian aristocratic family and Saint Realm cultivators. I wonder what kind of thoughts they have when they see these maps. Duan Chong laughed. Brat, you have so many clever ideas. If it's not like that, I'm afraid that the sacred beast's ancient realm will be taken over by those people. It's good now, once the map spreads out, there will definitely be people who can see that kind of terrain. Not long later, everyone will know where the sacred beast's ancient realm is. Previously, the few big powers represented by the Imperial Dragon Clan had bought all the relevant leads, but now that they had the clues, it was only a public event. Chen Xiang had indeed ruined their plans. No wonder Duan Chong hid away so desperately. Chen Xiang now also helped to imprint those maps. He asked, Elder Duan, the clans that followed Ten Heaven's Supreme Lord all those years ago held a certain position in the Heaven Realm. Some of them could even be compared with those top powers. Our Duan clan is different from the other clans. We will be sealed by a mysterious power from time to time, and until now, we still have a few seedlings that are considered not bad, and the foundation of our clan in the Heaven Realm has already been destroyed. However, legend has it that our ancestors had a grave in the Heaven Realm, and my purpose in coming to the Heaven Realm is to find it and dig it out. Duan Chong said. Duan Chong went all out to come to the Heaven Realm just to dig their ancestors' grave, and from the looks of it, it seemed like they had agreed to do it. Duan Sanchong, that brat, still doesn't have the ability to dig that tomb right now, so I will train him properly. I don't have enough power by myself. I will go to Human King, Immortal Country later on. Duan Sanchong was also in the Human King, Immortal Country. When that little robber's tomb came to the Heaven Realm, it would definitely continue to manage its business. Many of the tombs in the Heaven Realm were filled with hidden treasures. In just a month, these maps had appeared in many of the Immortal Country's immortal palaces, and they were even confirmed as the sacred beast's ancient realm because there was once an old beast king who had come out to prove it. With this, Duan Chong and Chen Xiang would be able to separate. He also had some important things to do, and he believed that Chen Xiang would definitely be able to return safely from Sacred Beast's ancient realm. There were more and more clues, especially in the 10,000 Beast Palace. There were a few old beast kings hidden there. Some of them grew up at the edge of Sacred Beast's ancient realm, but they did not know that it was actually the Sacred Beast's ancient realm. One of the old beast kings said that he would not return there. He said that it was not the sacred place everyone thought it was, that it was H.E.L. He came out from there after 1,000 years of hard work, that the so-called Sacred Beast's ancient realm was very dangerous. Even though he had the power of a beast king, he did not want to go back. There were 2 other beast kings who had similar claims, but many people and beasts did not believe them. They thought that these old beast kings were afraid that someone would take over the sacred beast's ancient realm, which was why they said it was so scary. What made Chen Xiang anxious was that even now, he still did not know where that place was. Those old beast kings said that they did not want to send too many living creatures to their deaths, so they kept their mouths shut. This was something that the old beast king of the 10,000 beast immortal palace was unwilling to say. However, the old beast king of the war beast immortal palace, who was gathered by another immortal beast and had strong enmity towards humans, spoke out. Night Devil this place seems to be very scary. When Chen Xiang heard the latest news, many people were terrified of the Night Devil Sacred Beast's ancient realm is actually Night Devil Su Meiyao said in shock. His voice carried a trace of fear. Is this place very scary? Chen Xiang asked anxiously. I have only heard that the devil-killing summit is inside, but it is not the center of the Night Devil It can only be considered to be a side mountain, and no one can go to the center of it. Su Meiyao said. Back then, our master wanted to go to the devil-killing summit alone, but in the end, he heavily injured himself and came back. Without anyone to guide him, it would be difficult to get close to him. Back then, they were also part of the strong. Their masters were even more powerful, but they suffered losses in that place. No wonder many people can't see what place it is. It turns out that there are very few people who can get close to that place. It's usually covered in fog, and flying over from high up in the sky is very dangerous as well. If that's the case, then it's no wonder those old beast kings who ran over here don't want to go back. Su Meiyao took in a breath of cold air. Just thinking about it, she felt terrified, because he had once seen her master covered in wounds and had returned home. No wonder they were able to become a beast king when they ran out, and couldn't come out even if they lacked the ability. According to the legends, it was indeed like Hell inside, especially at night they would hear terrifying roars, and the most powerful thing in the legends is the Night Devil at night. Bai Yuyu said. These were all legends because it was very difficult to come out alive after entering. I have a safe route, so I might be able to avoid some danger. Chen Xiang said, because he heard the tone of Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu and knew that they did not want him to go. Wait a moment, you better find out who's going. You can follow behind those guys, said. Both she and Bai Yuyu knew how important the beast slaying method was to Chen Xiang, and there was even something inside that the Dan Emperor was hiding. It might even be the lid of the divine cauldron. Wait a moment, you better find out who's going. You can follow behind those guys, said. Both she and Bai Yuyu knew how important the beast slaying method was to Chen Xiang, and there was even something inside that the Dan Emperor was hiding. It might even be the lid of the divine cauldron. Chen Xiang left the 10,000 Beast Hall and was teleported to the Demon Suppressing Palace. If he were to head to the Night Devil there would definitely be people from there, which was why Chen Xiang came here. The Devil Suppressing Divine Palace's Immortal Palace was not the largest, but it was one of the strongest. The majority of the other immortal palaces surrounded the center, creating a central area that only allowed people with a large number of spiritual crystal S or powerful people to enter, and the central area of the Demon Imperial Palace was constructed with an incomparably large hall, which was the Devil-Suppressing Divine Palace. Chen Xiang did not know how the temple worked, but it was said that only the people in the Devil-Suppressing Divine Palace knew about it, and the people in the Devil-Suppressing Divine Palace were extremely secretive and would not reveal the details. It was extremely difficult for normal people to enter the shrine, as even the powerful immortal kings would have to summon them beforehand. However, the outside of the Devil-Suppressing Divine Palace was still very busy. Because the immortal Qi was dense near the shrine, many tall and grand buildings were built around the shrine. They were all hotels or inns. Chen Xiang came here to inquire about the movements of the Devil-Suppressing Divine Palace. If the Devil-Suppressing Divine Palace was planning to go to that Night Devil the scale of the trip would definitely not be small. Over the years, many experts died inside the Night Devil I never thought that it would be the sacred beast's ancient realm. It seems to have changed a lot. It is no longer the cradle of holy beasts, but instead, it has become the cradle of demons. An old man shook his head and sighed. Chen Xiang was staying at a tea house. He realized that most of the people inside were here to ask about the movements of the devil-suppressing divine palace, because if devil-suppressing divine palace came out, they would be more at ease. At that time, they would definitely follow behind. Devil-suppressing divine palace, fire divine palace, imperial dragon clan, myriad Dan immortal country, the 10 heavenly S, the 10 saint S, and the other immortal palace immortal country S of various sizes. If they were to head to sacred beast's ancient realm together, it would probably be the greatest power in history. But right now I still don't know. If these superpowers really move out together, maybe they can scare off the night devil inside. Chen Xiang heard these people conversing. This was one of the ways he gathered information. Little scoundrel, tell us what happened with devil-killing summit inside. Remember to exaggerate it a bit. Su Meiyao suddenly said. Chen Xiang immediately understood what Su Meiyao was thinking, and anxiously moved to the table and said, "You all may not know, but the legendary devil-killing summit is inside Night Devil H.E.L.L., and the big powers might be attacking devil-killing summit. You should have heard of the devil-killing summit's matter. All the monsters that came out were people that once challenged many great powers by yourself. For example, the ruthless devil venerable back then was one of them. And that Chen Xiang was also rumored to be from the devil-killing summit." Chen Xiang's words caused the people of the tea house to perk up their ears. This was the first time they had heard such a thing. Although it sounded unreliable, it was very satisfying. Ruthless Devil Venerable is an important figure from over 100,000 years ago. Even now, his name is still around and he is indeed from the devil-killing summit. No wonder Chen Xiang is so powerful, so it turns out he's also from the devil-killing summit. However, he probably never went to the devil-killing summit, and was instead taken in by a disciple of the devil-killing summit who was wandering outside. Devil-killing summit must have a lot of powerful mystical techniques and demonic techniques, as well as a lot of profound concocting technique. Otherwise, how could Chen Xiang be so powerful? In that case, those big powers are really going to attack devil-killing summit. That's for sure. It was said that there were 2 people who saved Chen Xiang the other day, but only a few people could see the figures of the 2, showing just how powerful they were. Furthermore, they had killed 2 immortal kings in that situation, even the arms of the Dragon Emperor had been severed, and the son of the Holy Dragon, who knew how to refine pills in the Dragon Emperor, was crippled as well. Then why did the Myriad Dan immortal country attack the devil-killing summit as well? Although their relations, Hi+P with the Imperial Dragon Clan is not bad, attacking the devil-killing summit is not beneficial to them. They do not have any enmity with the devil-killing summit. Chen Xiang heard the others talking about this, and interrupted. You guys might not know, but Myriad Dan Immortal Country has suffered heavy losses, and Myriad Dan Immortal Country's new king, He Peiqing, has a holy fruit. It should originally be a compet. Tian's reward, but it was stolen away by someone, and that person is from Devil-Killing Summit. That's why they endured the pain of taking out the Divine Cauldron. Although the Divine Cauldron has one less lid, its value is far higher than the Sacred Fruit. The Sacred Fruit can grow back in the future and the Divine Cauldron will be gone once it's given away. So that's how it is. I wonder where you heard about it. Is it true? An old man asked. Of course it's true. This is all from the Fire Divine Palace. Chen Xiang said. Chen Xiang did not lie. He knew that, before long, these kinds of rumors would spread. After Chen Xiang stayed in the devil-suppressing Divine Palace for a few days, he did not expect that a immortal monarch in the devil-suppressing Divine Palace had once mentioned in public that the devil-killing summit was indeed in the Night Devil H.E.L.L. The devil-killing summit is inside the Night Devil HEL. Could it be that the people inside the devil-killing summit are trying to suppress the incredible monsters inside? Chen Xiang sat by the window and drank his tea, looking at the incomparably huge devil-suppressing divine palace in the distance. I wonder if human king, immortal country will go. Chen Xiang was not worried about Lu Menger and the others. With their strength, they would not be allowed to go to such a dangerous place. Now that the situation was so serious, it was impossible for the devil-suppressing divine palace and the rest to hide anything anymore. Chen Xiang was sure that there were already many people gathered at the immortal palace in Night Devil HEL. I wonder if the demons from Yao Tian and Mo Tian will come. Long Shui said, Imperial Avian Race and Imperial Dragon Clan will definitely return. This place is too important to them, it is their root. Furthermore, there have been no saint beasts being born for so many years, that's why they want to obtain the power to become saint beasts. What if they find out? Chen Xiang thought of the White Tiger's strength. Even the so-called Dragon Swallow City was afraid of the White Tiger. It's fine. They won't be able to find you anyway, and they won't be able to rule the 9 heavens like they did in the past. There will definitely be human immortals who can fight against them and won't let them do anything rash. Long Shui said. Right now, Chen Xiang was waiting here for the devil-suppressing divine palace. To deal with the mysterious night devil, he had to do this even if the devil-suppressing divine palace didn't want to. Chen Xiang waited in the demon imperial palace quietly, waiting for the news of devil-suppressing divine palace's departure. But more than 10 days had said, and there was not a single movement from the devil-suppressing divine palace. Chen Xiang waited in the demon imperial palace quietly, waiting for the news of devil-suppressing divine palace's departure. But more than 10 days had said, and there was not a single movement from the devil-suppressing divine palace. Outside the main gate of devil-suppressing divine palace, there are basically people crouching and waiting. If there is any large-scale operation, the news will spread. Chen Xiang looked at the big door. He thought that devil-suppressing divine palace and the others should make their move soon. Chen Xiang inquired on the street for information, and in the evening, Long Shui said somewhat suspiciously, I feel a very faint spatial energy being transmitted from inside my face. Not good, there might be transmission array among them, maybe they were teleported in batches, where would they be teleported to? Chen Xiang immediately thought of this level. I should be able to find out about the immortal palace near the Night Devil HEL. Let's go over there first. Su Meiyao said. Now, a lot of people were waiting here. Before Chen Xiang teleported away, he also released a message that the people of the devil-suppressing divine palace had long been sent to the immortal palace in the vicinity of the Night Devil HEL through the transmission array of the huge shrine. The Night Devil HEL. I had existed for a long time, and understood the Night Devil HEL very well. It was said that when they went to train, they would often lure the night devil out to hunt, so for many years, the devil-suppressing divine palace had built a careful immortal palace near the Night Devil HEL. This palace was also known as the demon-suppressing palace, but it was very small. Furthermore, it didn't have that kind of gigantic devil-suppressing divine palace, but ordinary palaces were still huge. When Chen Xiang released the news previously, many people guessed that if the devil-suppressing divine palace were to set off, they would definitely come to this immortal palace. Although the devil-suppressing divine palace in this immortal palace did not make any movements, the few gates were still guarded by people. The devil-suppressing divine palace here was much smaller, and it was only a palace compound surrounded by walls. Long Shui and Chen Xiang activated Heaven Tour and floated in the air. They could see the interior of the palace. There are a lot of people. Chen Xiang saw that there was a large group of people gathered in devil-suppressing divine palace. Their clothes were all different as they stood in groups on the plaza. There's a fire divine palace here, And there's also more than 30 dragons coming from the Imperial Dragon Clan. It looks like they really are going to enter that night devil Long Shui said. So many people, are they all going to die? Let's not talk about the strong ones, but there are quite a few who aren't even immortals, daring to challenge Night Devil Chen Xiang said. Before entering the Night Devil it was already very dangerous. The outside of the Night Devil is not safe. Bringing a large amount of weak people to clear the way, it will save a lot of energy, and once those strong people make their move on the outside, it will be very easy to alert and hide those strong beasts. Su Meiyao was extremely familiar with the Night Devil It was clear that he had been to that place before. I wonder if that group of immortal beasts will go. Chen Xiang actually planned to follow behind these groups of powerful forces first, and when they safely entered the inner part, compare the topography on the map, find a safe route, and then go by himself. He originally thought that devil-suppressing Divine Palace's group of people would stealthily set off. Who knew that within a few days, they would come out from a big gate and head towards Night Devil in a grandiose manner. There were a lot of them, with a total of more than 100,000 people. Amongst them, Fire Divine Palace and Devil-Suppressing Divine Palace were the most numerous, followed by Myriad Dan Immortal Country. Those 10 Heavenly Master Immortal Country-s and 10 Sage Realm Immortal Country-s aren't here? Chen Xiang had heard that these forces were also going to join them. They might be in other immortal palaces, so these fellows would definitely not be absent. They might have some clues about the sacred beast's ancient realm, and the ancestors of these powers have all followed the 10 Heavens' Supreme Lord, so they know quite a bit about the secret of the sacred beast's ancient realm. Long Shui said. Along the way, Chen Xiang was one of the few people that followed behind the group. He did not find any major powers like Dragon Emperor or He Peiqing among the group, but there were still a few immortal kings. After exiting the immortal palace, everyone could see a mountain range in the distance, covered in a faint white mist. It could be said to be very close to the immortal palace. They could arrive in just a few more days. The group of endless mountains could be seen even from afar. One could see how huge it was. Previously, they already knew from the map that the mountains and rivers in Sacred Beast's ancient realm were all very large. As long as we enter the foggy area, we will be in a dangerous place, although we won't be considered as entering the Sacred Beast's ancient realm there. Bai Yu said, if you're talking about a mortal monarch, it's very safe to roam around outside as long as you don't meet him. Night Devil Kings rarely run out, they usually hide inside. Only those very stupid little Night Devil-s will run out. They are usually the targets that devil-suppressing Divine Palace kills. Su Meiyao said. How strong is the little Night Devil? Chen Xiang asked. Late stage worldly immortal stage, Night Devil King is equivalent to immortal monarch. Bai Yu replied. After walking for 2 days, they were getting closer to the Night Devil They could already see the faint mist in front of them, and many of the huge mountains were covered with mist. Only the higher parts of the mountains were exposed, and the mist did not dissipate. When he got close, Chen Xiang realized that the mist was actually formed from dense immortal qi. It can transform into immortal qi mist. Could it be that there's a dragon vein inside? Chen Xiang had seen 2 dragon veins before, so he knew how to form one. And at this time, the entire huge sacred beast's ancient realm was shrouded in this dense fog. There was definitely a powerful force gathering immortal qi at every single moment. Maybe somewhere deep inside this place, there was a dragon vein. In the past, it wasn't immortal qi at all, but just ordinary fog. I didn't expect it to turn into immortal qi now. Maybe there really is a dragon vein inside. No wonder those big powers joined forces to enter. Su Meiyao said in shock. I wonder how long it has been like this. If there is a dragon vein inside, then it is very dangerous. To protect myself, The dragon veins formed a natural great formation, making it very difficult for the evil dragon graveyard to break through, not to mention the dragon veins formed by the spiritual crystal. Chen Xiang's face became serious. If it has been here for a long time, there might be a lot of celestial fruits and immortal medicines. Long Shui said, "This kind of environment can cultivate immortal grades medicine very well." The sky turned dark and the team suddenly stopped. It was very easy to meet Night Devil at night when entering the foggy area. Everyone was resting in the forest outside, after Paas. Sing through the forest, they would enter the forest, they would need to travel through the mountains to advance. As long as they stepped into the forest in front of them, they would be able to reach the outskirts of the Night Devil which could be considered as a dangerous area. Do all those Night Devils have intelligence? Chen Xiang leaned against a tree and sat down, looking at the group of devil-suppressing Divine Palace disciples in front of him. Those with intelligence are all Night Devil Kings, or Night Devil Kings. The majority of them are all very foolish. Other than their own kind, whenever they see something that moves, they would desperately attack it, and if it is a living being that was killed, it would be eaten by Night Devil. Su Meiyao said. The sky gradually darkened, and many people started a fire in the forest. Not long after, everyone heard a series of low sounds, like a cat meowing in the middle of the night. It sounded like an infant crying, and the sounds that came out at this moment were like thousands of cats meowing at the same time, making one's hair stand on end. This is Little Night Devil's call. Little Night Devil has come out to cultivate. Bai Yu said. As the number of Little Night Devil continued to increase, it was possible to tell that the number of Little Night Devil was gradually increasing. There were so many Little Night Devil with the strength of a mid to late stage worldly immortal, and now, Chen Xiang understood why those large powers had sent over 100,000 people. Then, Chen Xiang sensed a few strong auras approaching him. They belonged to the Dragon Emperor and He Peiqing. This was all something that Chen Xiang was more familiar with, but the following qi made Long Shui and Chen Xiang shocked. Why is this aura so familiar, yet also strange? Chen Xiang said. Dragon Emperor and the rest were here to meet with the large group, but there was still a group of strong people here. It's from the Imperial Avian race, the true king of birds has come. Looking at this aura, it should be a phoenix. Long Shui said. Phoenix, isn't this already extinct? Chen Xiang said in shock. As soon as he finished speaking, he saw a young man with a cold expression slowly walking over. He wore a white robe, and his expression gave off a very cold feeling. However, there was a very hot aura erupting from his body. It was as if he had suddenly appeared here, and slowly walked towards the Dragon Emperor in front of him. Not long after he appeared, a loud bird cry rang out. Golden light suddenly exploded in the forest, and a middle-aged man appeared. This middle-aged man was the Golden Rock King, and he followed behind the young man in white. So this is the phoenix? Why does it look like a man? Chen Xiang said, giving people a strong feeling. The phoenixes are divided into genders as well. The males and females are the phoenixes, but later on, they were all referred to as phoenixes. I wonder if it's good. Long Shui licked his lips. He should have a son and woman, little phoenix, he. Chen Xiang also had no interest in knowing what would happen to the phoenix and dragon emperoress. He was only concerned about them. If he were to live in a nearby immortal palace, he wouldn't be scared by the howls and screams coming from Night Devil If it was his first time hearing it, even if he wasn't afraid, he would be annoyed. Chen Xiang saw that a few of them had already made up their minds to return at daybreak. What followed was the arrival of the 10 Heavenly Master Immortal Country S and Sage Realm Immortal Country S. They were all king-level existences. Excluding those powers, there were more than 100,000 people here to take advantage of them. Those powers had even more than 500,000 to 600,000 people. Chen Xiang felt that it was already not bad if half of them came back. When dawn arrived, Chun Xiang didn't sleep the whole night and only took a simple rest. At this moment, the forest was in an uproar, because the several tens of thousands of people from the great forces had already set off. Chun Xiang rubbed his eyes as he followed behind a group of people and entered the misty area ahead. Chun Xiang rubbed his eyes as he followed behind a group of people and entered the misty area ahead. Originally, there were people flying, but they were called down. This was because flying was extremely dangerous, especially when flying into the forest. Although it was the outskirts of the Night Devil the trees outside were huge. I heard that the Night Devil was hiding in the trees, and if they flew too high, I don't even know how they died, it would attract the attention of the group of Night Devil. In addition, Chun Xiang and Long Shui discovered that there was a poison mist in the sky. This poison mist did not have a strong poison aura. Even if they absorbed it, it would not cause much trouble, but after mulating it, it would create a strange energy that would obstruct their blood channels, preventing the innate qi from being released. Could this mist be the natural formation formed by this dragon vein? Chun Xiang felt that the poison aura's production might have something to do with this. He couldn't fly, and he had to follow the group. He couldn't run fast, and he had to cross mountains, so his journey was very slow. When he entered the misty area, he could only see things a few hundred feet away. Previously, the Imperial Dragon Clan and the Imperial Feather Race had fought to gain control of the Myriad Dan Immortal Country's throne, but now that they saw the emperors of the two clans didn't have any conflicts, Chun Xiang was a little surprised. Chun Xiang walked in front and could see the Dragon Emperor and the Phoenix walking side by side. They were in the middle of the group, but the Golden Rock King's expression was not very natural. Only two from Imperial Avian race came. Everyone could see that there were a lot of Imperial Dragon Clan's dragons, but there were only two Imperial Avian race's birds. They are indeed very powerful, but if the Imperial Avian race wants to fight for the treasures inside, just the two of them will not be able to do much. Long Shui said. Soon it was night. They had let go of a few tall mountains and were resting at the foot of the mountain. However, everyone was on their guard now. At night, a chilling wail could be heard from within the dense fog. This time, it was even clearer. Moreover, it seemed to come from all directions, causing one to feel as if there were tens of thousands of demons and ghosts hiding within the fog. This was a flat piece of land, and a bonfire was set up here. However, the amount of light it could illuminate was limited because of the dense fog. With several 100,000 people here, only a small amount could be seen, making everyone feel even more terrified. However, it is better for us to get closer to the devil-suppressing divine palace. If the Night Devil appears, those fellows can be dealt with. Chun Xiang was not the only one with this thought, many people did. All those places were already filled to the brim. Night Devil has appeared. Long Shui shouted. The moment her words left her mouth, a scream sounded out. Everyone immediately looked over, but they could not see anything. All they saw was a thick fog that reflected the light of the fire. After that, more and more miserable cries came out. All of them were the people who were attacked by the Night Devil, and all of them were the people who followed along to join in the fun, but did not have a lot of strength. It's over there. Let's go take a look. Chun Xiang stood up. He also wanted to see the Night Devil. Everyone was squeezing towards him, but when he walked towards the Night Devil, it made everyone think that he had gone crazy. Chun Xiang could smell the scent of blood, but he could not see any traces of blood. Looking carefully at the ground, he realized that there were traces of blood droplets, and also messy footprints. They were eaten. These Night Devil ate very cleanly, or they might have been taken away. Bai Yu said. Be careful. Long Shui shouted. Chun Xiang also sensed some movement from above. These Night Devils actually swooped down to attack them from above. No wonder they were so easily dealt with. These Night Devil aren't much either. Chun Xiang took a step forward, and avoided the attack from the Night Devil. This was Little Night Devil, stupid as expected. Chen Xiang did not use the innate qi. He only used his physical body's strength to feel the energy source in Little Night Devil's body. His body shape was the same as a person's, except that his skin was green-black, his arms were long, reaching all the way down to his knees, his body was tall and he looked very strong, just that the muscles that suddenly appeared, along with the green and black color, gave people a very disgusting feeling. This Little Night Devil had a human face, but his teeth were black. Moreover, they were very sharp, and the Little Night Devil's mouth was filled with blood. "A group is coming," Long Shui said. They all came from the sky and swooped down at an extremely high speed. Chen Xiang struck his heaven-blasting palm towards the sky, and the impact of his palm caused the ground to crack. With a boom, Chen Xiang's palm power pierced through the few incoming Little Night Devils. The heavenly core-like object in Little Night Devil's body was shattered, causing an intense explosion. Many people felt that it was unexpected. They knew that the people fighting the Little Night Devil right now were not the people from Devil-suppressing Divine Palace, but those who had followed them here. All these guys are covered in venom. This poison is the same as the venom in the air. It seems like this Little Night Devil can rely on absorbing the venom to strengthen itself. Chen Xiang realized that these Little Night Devil were not simple. This place was only the outskirts, so the number of Little Night Devils were not many. The only few were already destroyed by Chen Xiang, who returned with the first Little Night Devil he killed. He threw it on the ground. Everyone around was shocked. They actually brought back the corpse of a Little Night Devil. With your cultivation at the late stage of the worldly immortal stage, you are good at attacking from the sky. Your hands are very long and powerful, your nails can penetrate some armor and are even poisonous. If you don't want to die, then go back tomorrow. If you want to enter deeper into the world, as long as it is night, there are as many of these things as locusts. After Chen Xiang left these words, he disappeared into the dense fog. He came to the side of the large group, and wanted to let them stay within his line of sight. Deep in the night there were many screams. However, there were no more screams. When dawn arrived, many people had already left. Only a few powerful people continued to follow the group. The Imperial Avian race is here. There's more than 20 of them. Long Shui shouted excitedly. That small gold eagle is more than enough for us to eat for a long time. Don't keep thinking about other things. Chen Xiang laughed. The Imperial Avian race had around 20+ people, but the one walking in front was a red-clothed female with a long ponytail. The female's face was elegant, and even though there was a cold and arrogant expression on her face, her eyes made people feel that she was amiable, giving people yet very gentle feeling. Isn't her face the same as the phoenix? Could it be that this is Imperial Avian race, and she looks very much like her phoenix father, but her strength is not as strong as her father's, and can't even be compared to Hefeng. She actually dares to come here and throw her life away, and she has already lost a small gold eagle. Long Shui said. Chen Xiang also felt that it was unwise for the Imperial Avian race to bring a weak phoenix here. Chen Xiang also felt that it was unwise for the Imperial Avian race to bring a weak phoenix here. Perhaps this phoenix has the talent to undergo rebirth, which is why it isn't afraid of death. Long Shui said. Can your heaven tour go deeper in? I used some just now, and before long, the power of my divine soul dissipated. In this sort of environment it was very easy for the God to explore the path, but right now the God could not swim too far. I can't either. There's a type of energy in the fog that can corrode God power. If our God power is too far away from us, it will easily corrode, and can only be used nearby. Long Shui was also in the same situation, except she could put it a little further than Chen Xiang. The night devil would not appear during the day, so during the day everyone would rush there, but that did not mean that it was absolutely safe. The danger was not limited to just the night devil. Chen Xiang felt that even if he had the map, it would still be very difficult to follow the route on the map. This was because he was unable to see the terrain here and could not find the correct path compared to the map. There were hundreds of thousands of superpowers in front, and only 10 to 20 million people at the back wasn't scared of death. Originally, there were more than 200,000 people, but after the appearance of Night Devil last night and the deaths of a few, many people had already retreated and left at dawn. After walking for more than an hour, Chen Xiang arrived at the top of a tall mountain. He used the Chaos Divine Eye to look into the distance, and even though he could not see those mountains clearly, he could still see their contours through the Chaos Divine Eye. I haven't found him. It seems that he hasn't entered the Night Devil H.E.L. yet. Chen Xiang shook his head and looked down. At this time, the several 100,000 people had already reached the mountainside, and there was a small mountain in front of them. Of course, Chen Xiang could not see clearly. He had used the Chaos Divine Eye to see through the dense fog and the outline of the mountain. Just as he was about to go forward, he realized that the small mountain below him had gone east for a while. He knew that he was not wrong. This was the sacred beast's ancient realm, and there were many powerful beasts here. Of course, there would be some that would run out, and these beasts were one of the dangers in the outer area of the Night Devil H.E.L. After Chen Xiang realized what had happened, he stopped in his tracks immediately. Through the Chaos Divine Eye, he saw a red blob that suddenly flew out. The phoenix has made its move. I wonder if it's that phoenix princess or that phoenix king. Chen Xiang was unable to sense the qi in front of him, because the strange mist could stop the qi from spreading. It's that little phoenix girl. I didn't expect her strength to be so much stronger than I expected. Long Shui said. Much stronger than you? Chen Xiang asked with a smile. You should be asking me how much stronger she is than me. This kind of bird isn't my match at all. If I were to attack, I would be able to kill her with a swing of my tail. She is only a phoenix princess. While I am a heavenly dragon supreme lord, I am not even comparable to her. Long Shui bragged proudly, as if the phoenix princess would immediately kneel down and wars. Hi+P him when he appeared. All right, honorable heavenly dragon supreme lord, go and capture her. The taste of the phoenix meat should be pretty good, right? Chen Xiang laughed. The phoenix meat isn't tasty. It's very hard and sour, and it'll be very bitter when heated. Moreover, it's not easy to cut. Compared to the taste of the golden rock meat, it's like heaven and earth. There were very few phoenixes in the first place, and he had never heard her say it before, especially since he had been with Long Shui for so long. I've never eaten it before, but there's a reference to it in my inheritance of memory. It can't be wrong. Long Shui said. The Phoenix Princess's strength was not bad, and he managed to get rid of the gigantic beast blocking his path in an instant. All he heard was the beast's angry roar, and then there was nothing else. What a waste, it turned to dust in an instant. There are a lot of spiritual crystal on that beast. Chen Xiang said with a look of pity. I am a Phoenix Princess, I lack these spiritual crystal. Long Shui said. Chen Xiang ran down from the top of the mountain. At this point, he was already lagging behind a lot of people, and the group of people at the back felt extremely relaxed, because the group in front led the way. The ones at the back didn't need to worry about anything, they just had to be careful of the Night Deviless. Chen Xiang felt that it would be good if this group of people could return 10% alive. As for the disciples that the big powers called, they would probably all be sending themselves to their death. In any case, these big powers did not lack disciples from the bottom rankers. There would be a lot of people who would want to join their forces every day. As the sky darkened, the screams became louder and louder. Not long after, everyone felt as if they were enveloped by the screams, all around them, and even more loudly, as if someone was wailing in your ear. It was as if someone was wailing in your ear. Chen Xiang did not mind. he could just directly seal off his hearing, so that he would not be affected, and only used his divine force to observe his surroundings. This place can already be considered a night devil Hell. If a night devil appears, it wouldn't be a few more. Bai Yu said. Based on the voices, the group of Night Devil here is commanded by a Night Devil King. Night Devil King is intelligent, and not one bit inferior to humans. Hearing Bai Yu's warning, Chen Xiang immediately became vigilant. He did not want to be injured the moment he stepped into Night Devil Hell. The leaders of the big powers seemed to have sensed the danger at hand, but they did not need to worry too much about themselves. They were all very strong. As long as it was not Night Devil King who attacked them in a group, they would not feel pressured, and they would just use the energy released from their bodies to form a protective HI+ELD, and the Night Devil would not dare to approach them. Chen Xiang's GOD power could be released to a circumference of 100 meters. He was already on guard in the sky, because those Night Devil were all launched a sneak attack from the air. There are a lot of them, although they are all little Night Devils, but with so many of them, even an immortal king would not be able to hold them off. Long Shui exclaimed. How many? Chen Xiang swallowed his saliva, and then took a deep breath. At least 200,000. Hearing this number, Chen Xiang trembled a little. It was also at this time that the ground shook slightly. It's all over the sky and on the ground. Long Shui said. There's a Night Devil underground. Chen Xiang shouted and then jumped up quickly. At the same time, he released the profound cover hood, using the powerful water attribute innate qi to protect himself, so that the Night Devil in the air wouldn't be able to touch his body. Whoosh! Whoosh! The moment Chen Xiang jumped up, the ground suddenly bulged and a large group of Night Devils appeared. Originally, there were many bonfires, but they were all extinguished by the Night Devils that appeared from the ground. Chen Xiang felt that he had imped into many, and there were even countless Night Devils biting at him or using their hands to tear him apart, but they were unable to break through the thick water barrier that was being infused with the power of the demon-suppressing orb. There was no longer any light. It was now pitch black and the ground was filled with miserable screams. The strong stench of blood and the murderous aura from Night Devil caused everyone to feel disgusted and terrified. In the darkness there were occasionally some rays of light that emitted out. Chen Xiang could sense that there was a very strong aura coming from the direction of the great powers, and those big shots had also joined the battle. So many. Chen Xiang felt as if he was floating in an ocean formed by the Night Devil. Even if he did not use the energy in his body, he could still float in the air. If this continues, I won't be able to hold on much longer. This group of things is too terrifying. Chen Xiang felt that his profound cover hood was weakening bit by bit, because all of these Night Devils were in the mid to late stages of the immortal realm. They were frantically attacking him, and had very strong powers. Of the people who came here to join in on the fun, you are the only one left now. The rest of them don't even have bones left, and there are 3 immortal monarchs amongst them. Long Shui said. What? Chen Xiang was shocked. He had only just stepped into the Night Devil Hell, and he already encountered such a terrifying attack. Even 3 immortal monarchs wouldn't be able to hold off this group of hungry Night Devils for long. Motherf *Ker. Chen Xiang was enraged. His hands suddenly released profound cover hood, releasing a few BALLs of heaven fire. The heaven flames of the heaven and earth were released using the devil-suppressing holy power. It had a huge destructive power on these little Night Devil, and these little Night Devil were all squeezed together. In a short moment, the heaven flames spread out, burning a large portion of the little Night Devil. Little Night Devil was swept by the heaven flames of the heaven and earth. They released many sharp shouts. They wanted to escape in all directions, but they were helpless as they were surrounded by extremely Night Devils. These little night devil were really stupid, they were all used to it. Now, they didn't even need to fly, and just piled them all up here. After Chun Xiang released the heaven flames, he felt much more relaxed. At least he wouldn't be squeezed together by the countless little night devil. This kind of number of little night devil should be directly commanded by a night devil king. Normally, a night devil king would have at least 100 night devil kings, and these 100 night devil kings would bring at least 10 million of them. Bai Yu said. At least 10 million little night devils. Just thinking about it made Chun Xiang shudder. If you were yourself, you probably wouldn't attract the attention of these little night devil. Su Meiyao said. You will follow this large group of people, so you will be easily discovered. Once you find the route on the map, don't follow them. The heaven flame that Chun Xiang released was very difficult to extinguish. Once it was ignited a little, it would quickly spread throughout his entire body. There's actually such a powerful being in that group of humans. This kind of flame is actually on par with mine. Phoenix Princess had a serious face as he looked at the raging flames outside the barrier. The place where this large group of people was protected by a gigantic barrier, and the little night devils were all covered outside of the barrier. The heaven flames that Chun Xiang had released had already spread to this place, and the people inside all killed the little night devils through the barrier. Father, what kind of flame is that? I can't tell. She waved her hand and released 2 fiery red rays of light. After passing through the barrier, they struck the little night devils' bodies, but their burning speed was not as fast as Chun Xiang's. The heaven flame with the power to suppress demons, this kind of heaven flame is better than the 5 elements heavenly fire. The Phoenix King said. This person is not from my devil-suppressing divine palace. There aren't many in my devil-suppressing divine palace that can use sky fire at this level. It could be that he is a rogue cultivator who has learned our technique. An old man from the devil-suppressing divine palace said. Everyone, be careful, this is a surprise attack from the Night Devil King. They are currently planning to wear us down. Towards this kind of small thing, we do not need to take action, and only have the power to deal with the Night Devil King and the Night Devil King. The one who spoke was the Dragon Emperor. He seemed to understand quite a bit about this place. If that group of fellows weren't here, I would have easily taken care of them with either the Holy Devil-Suppressing Seal or the Green Dragon Demon-Slaying Broadsword. Chun Xiang said. Although he had burned a lot of little night devil, these little night devil were like locusts, hard to kill. With heaven-suppressed immortal monument, there won't be many people who will know about this. Even if they do, it doesn't matter. Su Meiyao said. The heaven-suppressed immortal monument was something that Chun Xiang had obtained from a huge profound being. That profound being was originally discovered by the Fire Divine Palace and S.H.I. plus ped to a volcano to be melted. Only then did the heaven-suppressed immortal monument appear. Chun Xiang had once used this devil-suppressing monument to destroy a holy-ranked artifact and a super-array plate. When the heaven-suppressed immortal monument appeared, cold air overflowed everywhere. Previously, Chun Xiang was still using flames, but in the blink of an eye, he had used such a strong power of frost, which was very surprising. Chun Xiang controlled the heaven-suppressed immortal monument to float in the air, and those little night devils didn't dare to approach it. This divine steel, which had once suppressed the heavens and earth, contained a very, very powerful and terrifying cold energy. The heaven-suppressed immortal monument floated into the air, and with a loud shout, it fell down ferociously. At the same time, it extracted a large amount of immortal qi from the thick mist. Chun Xiang's divine power and innate qi were also extracted in large amount. When the heaven-suppressed immortal monument pressed down, it created an extremely cold pressure, causing a gust of ice astral wind to blow away all the little night devil around Chun Xiang. Those little night devil who were blown away were also frozen up at the same time. SMAs. HI plussing into each other and turning into pieces of shattered ice. The heaven-suppressed immortal monument had fallen onto the ground, and everything around them was covered in ice. When Chen Xiang sat on the gigantic heaven-suppressed immortal monument, the little night devil did not come any closer because they hated the cold energy released by the heaven-suppressed immortal monument. Chen Xiang was currently very close to those several 100,000 people. Because of the heaven-suppressed immortal monument, the surrounding little night devil had disappeared as well. The hundreds of thousands of people could see through the chi barrier that there was a young man sitting on top of a heaven-suppressed immortal monument that was emitting a holy and white light. The cold energy released by the heaven-suppressed immortal monument was suddenly surrounded by ice, and many broken limbs of the little night devil could be seen inside the ice. The cold energy released by the heaven-suppressed immortal monument was suddenly surrounded by ice, and many broken limbs of the little night devil could be seen inside the ice. Just one person was enough to suppress so many little night devils. This kind of strength was truly admirable. A few big shots all knew that Chen Xiang had burnt several 100,000 little night devils to death with his flames, and the moment the heaven-suppressed immortal monument appeared, another 100,000 little night devils all died. Right now, all the experts were looking at the heaven-suppressed immortal monument that Chen Xiang was sitting on. There were no inscriptions on it, and other than the large stone monument, there was nothing special about it. Be careful of Night Devil King. Phoenix Princess that was inside the chi barrier shouted. Chen Xiang had been on guard this entire time. After the heaven-suppressed immortal monument appeared, the surrounding mist had dispersed, making it possible to see very clearly, and the range of his divine power was even wider. Chen Xiang had killed so many little night devil, if they appeared, they would definitely attack him. Bad things for me. Just as he shouted out in anger, a beam of red light shot out from one direction towards Chen Xiang's head. The Dragon Emperor was right there at the side. The great enemies of the devil-suppressing Divine Palace and the other devil-suppressing Divine Palace were also there, so Chen Xiang didn't dare to reveal himself too much. I've been waiting for you for a long time. Chen Xiang quickly waved his hand and threw out a dagger. It was the Devil Emperor dagger that could devour the power of myriad demons. The Devil Emperor dagger flew out, and after swallowing the red light that carried an extremely strong demonic aura, it pierced towards the incoming Night Devil King. Ancient demon weapon. The Night Devil King was shocked. The power contained within the Devil Emperor dagger made him feel like he was facing a powerful demon God. Night Devil King immediately dodged the Devil Emperor dagger, seeing that he knew the dagger was not to be touched, but just as he dodged, Chen Xiang already controlled the heaven-suppressed immortal monument, and it fiercely smashed down. You're not strong enough. The Night Devil King struck towards the bottom of the heaven-suppressed immortal monument, using his powerful strength to shatter the heaven-suppressed immortal monument's power. He exchanged blows with Chen Xiang and knew that Chen Xiang wasn't that strong, or else the heaven-suppressed immortal monument's attack just now would have heavily injured him. Night Devil King's arm was already stiff. He anxiously used his power to remove the cold energy. Now, Chen Xiang could finally see the Night Devil King very clearly. Compared to the other little Night Devil, she looked a lot whiter, more like a human. However, her two arms were still so long, and her skin still had a hint of black qi, but she didn't look that scary. If Chen Xiang used his full strength right now, with Long Xue's strength, he could deal with the Night Devil King with things like the Green Dragon Demon-Slain Broadsword and the Holy Devil Suppressing Seal, but his current conditions did not allow it, and he did not plan to fight to the death with them either, because there was still a large group of experts at his side. Seems like he isn't too strong after all. Phoenix Princess looked at Phoenix King and nodded at her. With her permission, 2 hoops of flame appeared in Phoenix Princess's hands. The weapon she used was a relatively unpopular one, so she threw out a fire hoop from afar. The fire hoop was like a light arrow, dragging a long fire tail as it shot towards Night Devil King. Seeing that someone had joined the battle, Chen Xiang quickly kept his heaven-suppressed immortal monument and left the battlefield, entering into a thick mist. Seeing him slip away so quickly, the Phoenix Princess was a little unhappy and he let out a low snort. Both the Dragon Emperor and the Phoenix King frowned because Chen Xiang's concealment abilities had surprised him. In such a short period of time, it was as if Chen Xiang had evaporated, and he could not detect even a trace of his aura. Furthermore, he was not attacked by the little night devil. This Phoenix Princess is really nosy, but I have to thank her. If not for her help, I would have been exposed sooner or later. Chen Xiang had become a leaf on the ground, and no one could find him. I think she was the one who was interested in you. She was the one who warned you before as well. Long Shui smiled ambiguously. Although I am very confident in my charm, I am not overly confident. How could I be captivating this Phoenix Princess all of a sudden? Chen Xiang just felt that the Phoenix Princess was more kind-hearted. Don't underestimate yourself. There are many powerful women who are interested in you. At least my Heavenly Dragon Supreme Lord is interested in you. Do you think I am not as good as that Phoenix Princess? Long Shui laughed. Chen Xiang had even gone through a great mental upheaval with her, so in a sense, this little naughty dragon could already be considered one of his people. So powerful, in a few moves, he killed Night Devil King. Chen Xiang exclaimed. After conversing with Long Shui for a while, the Night Devil King was smashed by the 2 fire rings that flew around for dozens of times. After just killing 1 demon and devil realms, a large group of little Night Devils rushed over from the sky and the ground. The Phoenix Princess frowned, and a ball of fire suddenly emerged from her back. No little Night Devil could sense Chen Xiang, so Chen Xiang was currently very safe. He would not risk his life to attack those little Night Devils like he did before, as it would not benefit him at all. With the Night Devil King here, the other immortal kings would not take action much. They all want to deal with the Night Devil Kings. Seems like there are a few Night Devil Kings watching. Bai Yu said. Are there a lot of Night Devil Kings here? Chen Xiang asked. There are a lot of Night Devil here. I don't know how they came about it, but even if they were killed, there are still a lot of them, and even if they don't eat humans, they can still survive. After a long time, they can evolve to become the Night Devil King, and over the years, very few experts have entered this place to kill the Night Devil. Most of these Night Devil Kings would first send a large group of their little Night Devils to their deaths, using up their opponent's strength, and then find a chance to launch a sneak attack. It would be very detrimental. The Qi barrier released a faint multicolored light. Chen Xiang, who was hiding at the side, could see that the people who were attacking the barrier were all from the weak powers, while the immortal kings were only commanding from the side. If this continues, it will continue to be wasted until daybreak. As long as day broke, these little Night Devil would hide away for some unknown reason. Yes, if there wasn't a chance, those Night Devil Kings would not have intervened, because there are a lot of little Night Devil here. They don't care about the lives of those little Night Devils at all. Su Meiyao said. The little Night Devil were covered in venom, and the energy sources in their body were not heaven pills or anything like that. The corpses were useless to them, causing Chen Xiang to feel that it was a pity. Otherwise, with so many corpses, if they were to be used at all, it would be extremely useful.